I have to tell you, Drek, I have been living a lie, and I need to confess.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, confess, my child, confess.
My records have been 2% fast for some unknown amount of time.
Really?
Yeah, this came up with the couple episodes ago when my son was with us, and we were playing the Helldivers 2 soundtrack on vinyl, and he said, "Dad, it sounds great, but it doesn't quite sound right." I mean, you know, because he listens to the digital file all the time on YouTube and things, and he's so knows that song that he was like, something is off. And so, sure enough, I did a speed test recently. I was reminded about him saying that recently when I wanted to do a comparison of a CD to a vinyl record we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. And I ripped the track from that CD and vinyl record, and I heard it and I was like, oh, it's slightly pitched up. It is, in fact, and audibly slightly fast. So, gosh, then what do you do, right? So it led me down a very quick rabbit hole just in the past, say, 3 or so weeks here, where I had to try to clean my record player, get a new belt on it, figure out what's going on, bring out some of that measurement stuff again, and see what I can do. And I thought it was a whole bunch of different things. I tried just squirting in some sewing machine oil, which is a good lubricant for record players, especially vintage ones. But it didn't do anything because I wasn't really doing it right. I was just kind of trying to take the easy way out.
Right.
And I did, in fact, eventually figure out with my dad's help that he was like, just check that spindle one more time. See if there's any kind of belt residue or anything on there. And sure enough, I did, in fact, find a little bit of black belt residue kind of on one side of the little spindle there. So
on the spindle,
yeah. So
really?
I took a little, I ran the record player and I took a little kind of buffer thing and as gently, but yet as firmly as you could for a record player that was built in 1978 and has decades of old glue on it. You know, I did a little bit of rubbing alcohol and all that sort of thing. You just kind of wipe it off and get the Q-tip. And then when it's all black, you get the next one out and do that, and it worked. Eventually, I used a little bit of a light buffer because there was just that final bit that I could not get off. And now I'm worried that maybe I did too much because guess what happened? It became
now it's 2%. Too slow?
Yep, 2% slow. So that was both the problem and I should have stopped halfway. I should have left some of it on the belt and just saved myself the work, I guess, and then it would have been perfect.
Well, true, yeah.
See, that's the thing is I should have slacked more is the problem.
See, it pays to slack, children. It pays to slack.
But now what do I
Sometimes.
do? So I was like, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually do what I should have done in the first place, pull the spindle out, get all the old grease and gunk out of the spindle hole, put some actual lubricant in it.
Right.
And because the spindle hole one's pretty easy to get to on this turntable, I did that, and now it is 0.94% slow. So a significant improvement just from doing that.
Yeah.
Which leads me to think I should probably pull out that motor and do the same thing and then see if I'm right back to 33 1/3. But that is going to take a little bit of doing, especially when you talk about old motors and things like that. The process of getting it out won't be too bad, but the process of cleaning it out and re-lubing it will be quite the process.
Oh, I can't imagine. Yeah.
The other thing I could try doing is, and this is the slacker solution, which is why I'm attracted to it. You can buy belts cheap on Amazon, so just try getting a couple of different belts and see if, because belts are not maybe quite the spec that they used to be. And you can just try seeing if maybe you get lucky with a $5 belt and call it done. And so I'm doing that as well. But now I don't know what to do, because what do I do if it doesn't work?
You don't have a pitch control on it at all, or you don't have like the screw that you can adjust on your turntable?
No, that's correct. And that led me down an educational rabbit hole of it being a late 70s turntable with an AC rather than DC motor. AC motors are much more consistent. At least at that time, they were considered much more mechanically consistent and thus used for speed control. But they don't have the flexibility of a DC motor. So they tend, although you can get AC turntables with pitch control these days, but back in
Right.
1978 it was less common. And so you would, that's part of the reason it's good though. But here's the one positive is, although it is off by some percent, the wow on this thing is rock solid. That turntable does not
Well,
vary one iota, which I thought was pretty interesting. That the wow and flutter on that thing is basically non-existent. It's well within original spec, but the speed is slow. So for the purposes of the clips, I could solve this by doing an actual measurement, again, 0.94%,
right.
and then
Yeah, you
change
can
the
tell.
speed of the actual track by 0.94% in editing. But that doesn't solve the main problem, which is that my turntable, I love my turntable. I love that vintage wood,
That's
but
I know you love that
I
turntable.
do. But my a turntable is a tool. Is a tool to listen to music, and if it
Right.
isn't listening to the music correctly, I need to do something about it. So what do I do? Do I actually break down and for the first time in my life buy a brand new turntable? Or do I just try to find another vintage one, which I had one possible lead this week that actually had me driving all the way to East Providence, Rhode Island. It was a 19
Really?
it was cosmetically beautiful. It was a 1983 Lab 130, so a realistic Radio Shack turntable. And it was in beautiful condition with the dust cover. It looked amazing. Unfortunately, it had a speed control issue as well, so I didn't
Oh
end up
no.
purchasing it. But it was only $40. So it would have been right exactly the kind of thing that I would have been into, you know? So,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But otherwise, I haven't seen anything. My thought would be what you have essentially, because whatever you want to say about, like, say the Audio Technica 120, it has mechanically allows you to do anything you really want to it.
Yep.
An amount of things you can adjust and change and replace if you want to is pretty much infinite. So, and doable on it. So,
And it's a solid turntable
mhm.
too. I mean, it's not like it's I think and we talked about this on the show when we were talking about which turntable to buy too. I think and it's at a well now it's a little more than it used to be, but it's at a decent price point to where you're not dumping thousands of dollars on a turntable, but you're paying a little bit of chunk of change, but you're getting a well-built machine. I mean, obviously not as well built as the 70s one because that's just a tribute to how well they built stuff back then that other than what you just discovered, like
Mhm.
how long have you had that turntable and how long has that turntable been going and probably
Yeah.
never had a problem
Well,
until recently maybe.
yeah, I mean, I have only owned it, I guess, maybe 2 or 3 years, but it's from 1978, and it's what's called a CEC manufactured turntable. They were manufactured for a bunch of retailers back in the day, but they're all very high
Okay.
quality, considered very high quality, sort of intermediate to beginner style turntables. They're
Yeah.
excellent turntables though, and known for rocking just fine 40 some years later, other than the speed issue, which again, I could be solved by me finally cleaning out the motor for the first time, which I could have done when I first got it. But then I also could have replaced the cartridge, and I didn't do that either for about 6 months. So you know
Right.
how I
Right.
roll, you know.
Right.
But so the other thing I consider is, well, I'm a Massachusetts dude, so I should really look at Orbit turntables again. And I think they're beautiful looking turntables. But
They
there's a
are.
couple of things that still have me saying no. One of which is they claim they have, quote, internal anti-skate, which is okay, except you can't adjust the anti-skate, for one. And I'm sure as
Yeah.
heck going to put on a new cartridge. And then for two, although I think maybe the newer models have it, they don't really have auto, like you can't soft raise and lower the needle.
Oh,
And
right.
that's kind of a non-starter for me. I'm like, no, I am doing that. And my turntable will
Oh,
have that. So
100%. Yeah.
and although it's for audiophile reasons a positive, the belt is on the outside, so you can actually see the belt. You could touch the belt, which is a bad thing,
Right.
but it also removes it from further from the noise of the motor and such. So it's there's a reason they tend to do it on the outside. But I like my vintage turntables still with their belts on the inside. I don't like it exposed. I think it just works better for
Right.
me.
No, I 100% agree. No, no, I agree with you. I would rather have it on the inside. That's kind of one of the big reasons why I haven't gone with an Orbit either, because I don't like that belt on the outside. I just
Mhm.
don't. I it's just like aesthetically to me, I'm like, no, that should
Yep.
be on the inside.
And I think they've got a higher end turntable that probably would address most, if not all, of my needs. But, you know, if I'm spending $1,000 on a turntable, I think there might be other options as well that I
Oh,
might look at
there's
instead. So, you know what I
much
mean?
better
Yeah.
options. Yeah,
So,
no, 100%.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's yeah.
So that, I guess we just solved, we have the official answer, which is I should probably just get a Audio Technica AT 120.
120. Yep.
But here's why I don't. I I don't want to insult you, Drek, and I believe that everyone who has these turntables has a very high quality turntable, but I don't really like the look of it. It's a very classic look, a very, very classic look.
Yeah.
But I love my kind of wood lines and vintage
You like
feel
that?
and all that. And it just is kind of the opposite of that, you know? And that matters to me.
You
So,
right, because you like the aesthetic of like the 70s style turntables,
yeah.
right?
It's the same
I
reason that
get it.
if I won the lottery, I don't know that I would buy one of those $10,000 turntables because let me please insult you guys and gals a little bit, which is
Oh,
I think they kind of look like NASA experiments.
they do. I don't. Yeah, I would never own one, even if I could afford one, like you. Like you said, I don't think I
Not
would
that
ever
you
buy
can't,
one.
not that there isn't a
Right.
huge range there as well. I'm sure if I
Right.
had $10,000 to spend, I could find a very high quality turntable that I would love.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
if
and
there are
I'm
any
sure
sponsors
there's
out there, if there are any manufacturers
exactly.
of $10,000 turntables, man, I will say all sorts of good things about your place. I
Exactly.
promise you. So
Send it over.
yeah. But now I'm in a really tough conundrum,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well, yeah.
You know, I looked locally to see if there was something on Facebook. I looked at the local record stores to see if they had anything, and none of them really did. And it's a little late in the year for flea markets, but even if so, I kind of needed something for this week that I could maybe just drop in and be done with. But I don't really want to spend a whole bunch of money on a turntable either, so I
Right.
don't know.
No, I see the conundrum you are having right now.
Can you imagine introducing glitter to a record pressing plant and being okay
It's
with it?
yeah, exactly. No, I would love to have been in that plant the day that somebody came up with this idea and we're like, what we're gonna do is we're gonna dub and like the plant manager's like, no, you are not.
Are you a Swiftie?
I guess I would be considered a Swiftie. I'm not a hardcore Swiftie, but I mean, if you look at my collection, I have a lot of Taylor Swift, so I guess I am. I don't identify as a Swiftie, but according to my Discogs and my collection, I probably should identify as a Swiftie, but I don't.
Being a Swiftie is probably a spectrum, just like with just about anything in the world, really, when you think about
This
it.
is true. This is
There's
true.
many facets to being a fan of Taylor Swift's music in 2025. And because Taylor Swift story is partially involving the story of revival of vinyl into whole generations and such, not just Taylor Swift, but certainly in part because of Taylor Swift.
Oh, she helped a lot,
Any
definitely.
any vinyl enthusiast is going to probably have an opinion about Taylor Swift and Taylor Swift records. And if you're a record store, I think in many ways Taylor Swift records have been not just a lifeblood, but also a point of introduction to new vinyl buyers and people who are like, hey, you don't want to buy Taylor Swift at Target. Maybe you want to support an indie record store. Well, guess what? They got you covered too on this stuff. And in fact,
Oh
some of the
yeah.
coolest Taylor Swift stuff you're going to find for like Record Store Day and indie
Yep. And
exclusives
that's
and things like that. So there's a real, I think, relationship there that matters far beyond whether Taylor Swift's new album is any good. But to start, episode 10, Drac, is Taylor Swift's new album any good?
it's okay. I'm not a super huge fan of it. It's it's different enough from her last album, but yet it's kind of like her last album, but then there's parts of it that are different. I'm just like, it's okay.
Her name was Kitty, made her money being pretty and witty. They gave her the keys to this city, then they said she didn't do it legitly. I bought a ticket, she's dancing in her garters and fishnets. 50 in the cast, 0 missteps. Looking back, I guess it was kismet. I waited by the stage door, packed in with the autograph, hounds barking her name, then glowing like the end of a cigarette. Wow, she came out. I said, you live in my dream. Then she said to me, hey, thank you for the lovely bouquet. You're sweeter than a peach, but you don't know the life of a showgirl, babe. And you're never ever gonna.
I'm hoping maybe it'll grow on me if I keep listening to it, but I've listened to it probably about maybe 15 times now, and I'm just like, I just am not getting it. Just not getting it, Taylor. Sorry.
I tried to listen to a song and I couldn't do it. I'm sorry, people.
I
have nothing against Taylor Swift, but oh my gosh, yeah. I just, it's not for me, and that's fine. That's fine. But man, I can't even get. I was for this show. I was like, let's listen to the new Taylor Swift album, and I could not get through the first song. I'm sorry.
This is one of the rare that I can tell you in the past, how long, it maybe ever, that there are songs on this album I'll skip just because I detest them that much. I'm just like, every time it comes on, I'm like, nope. If I'm streaming it, I'll go to the next. If I'm listening to the vinyl, I'll go over. I'll lift the needle, move it over. So, yep. Sorry, Taylor. We are talking about the new album, Life of a Showgirl.
Mm-hmm.
This is the
you
indie.
Have it. Okay.
Yep, I have it. Yeah. Yeah, this is the indie exclusive, which is on this. Oh, it slid back in. Sorry. It's on like a glitter. Hopefully that's showing up. Like the record itself is glittered, so it's like sorry, Taylor.
Well, I could say this, you and I have similar taste. I almost bought the album despite what I just said, simply because I really wanted to see that glitter vinyl. And hear what happens when you try to play a record that's got a whole bunch of glitter in it.
And I was worried about that, to be honest. I'm like, this is going to sound like crap. But actually, it doesn't. It sounds really good. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I don't. And I know, just like looking online and seeing all the discourse and everything, this record is very polarizing, even for Taylor Swift fans. There are some like hardcore Swifties that are like, this is her worst album ever. But then there's that other group of people like, this is her best album ever. She's growing as an artist. She's changing. She's blah, blah, blah. So it's like, this is one of those, you love it or you hate it.
It's an international phenomenon, regardless of whether it's any good or not. Is it just, after releasing so many great albums, they're not all going to be winners, folks? Is that really all it is?
After what, 7, 12, 13, 12,
yeah.
This is her 12th album. Like, after 12 albums, you have to think she's going to have to shoot a couple blanks eventually. And personally, I think she did with this one a lot. But I don't know. We'll see in the test of time how it ends up going. But
a little bit of an interesting cultural bit of feedback, which is that I can't tell whether the Taylor Swift fans feel the album is any good or not, because somehow early on I was served on TikTok a quote negative review of the Taylor Swift album, and I watched it. And then ever since it was like, oh, you must absolutely hate Taylor Swift. And I'm like, no, I want to get about, I want to hear what, because I'm not naturally getting that kind of content in my Follow You page or whatever. And so I was, because all I ever saw was negative stuff, I at least had the the intelligence to be like, well, this is just what's being shown me. But
Yeah,
but I can't,
it's
as a result, I can't tell whether people think it's any good or not. So
it's very mixed. Like this is like I said before, this is kind of polarizing. Like you like it, you don't like it. There's really no in between, and I'm on the don't really like it camp right now. Will my opinion of it change? Maybe. I mean, it could, but I don't know. It's just and I can't like just point out and say one thing. It's like I don't like this about it. There's just something that's right underneath the surface that I can't quite figure out yet to where I can say this is what I don't like about it.
Wait, the more you play, the more that you pay. You're softer than a kitten, so you don't know the life of a showgirl, babe. And you're never gonna wanna. She was a menace, the baby of the family in Lennox. Her father whored around like all men did. Her mother took pills and played tennis.
okay,
It's
so
just,
it's more
there's just
nuanced
something
than
there.
just
Yeah.
man, the songs are bad.
For me, yes, it is.
Okay,
And once I figure that out, maybe then my opinion might change totally like, oh my God, this sucks. Or it's like, yeah, okay, I see what she was doing with this.
is it the glitter?
So it might be.
How does it
the
play?
glitter.
Does it? Can you even hear the glitter? No, right?
No, I was surprised. No, no, you can't.
But how? Because glitter gets everywhere. Can you imagine introducing glitter to a record pressing plant and being okay with it?
Yeah, exactly. No, I would love to have been in that plant the day that somebody came up with this idea and we're like, what we're gonna do is we're gonna dub and like the plant manager's like, no, you are not. You are not getting that anywhere near my record pressing plant.
You know
Get
where
that
past
outta here.
homeowners put their Christmas tree. You ain't putting that into my record plant.
Right.
But they did.
Right.
They did for Taylor
Right,
Swift because reasons, I guess. But it's fine. Do you ever at all? Because what happens if your needle goes over a bit of glitter? It must not be that kind of glitter. What is it? What's going on?
It's kind of it's almost like the liquid filled stuff. It's kind of pressed down in it, so it's very bizarre. But it's kind of strange. I'm not as worried about this than I am that liquid filled spirit box I have. That one I'm worried about because if that goes, like if this goes, it's like, yeah, there's going to be glitter everywhere, but I can handle that. So at least thank God she didn't do a liquid filled thing. Then that would have been a whole other conversation we'd be having right now.
I'm married to the hustle, and now I know the life of a showgirl, babe. And I'll never know another. Hey, hidden by the lipstick and lace. Sequins are forever, and now I know the life of a showgirl, babe. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Well,
See,
I've solved that problem by not buying it, but I was almost willing to pay $30 to just see what a glitter record looked like.
And once I'll pull a track up of here and you can kind of see it spinning, but see if I can get close. It's kind of down in, so I don't know how they did it. I would love to see like a video or something on how they actually did it, but it's
Hopefully very carefully.
Yeah, you would think, but I mean, I will admit it does look pretty cool when it's spinning around because you can really see the glitter. So
especially on the newer turntables with like LED lights and things on them and stuff. I bet that's sweet.
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah. It's pretty neat to see, but yeah. Do we really need glitter records? Not really, but here we are, 2025, the year of the glitter record, apparently.
The most infamous record plant in the world. Never send your records through them. There's glitter forever coming from that place.
Exactly.
NPR.org, released October 3rd. Debuted #1 Billboard album chart, of course. All 12 of its songs landing in the Hot 100 singles chart, of course, filling the entire top 10. According to the industry data firm Luminate, it sold 4.002 million equivalent album units, the most an album has ever sold. in its first week since Luminate began electronically collecting data in 1991, which, if you're an astute viewer of the show, will know happened with Use Your Illusion. But the most surprising takeaway from Showgirl's early numbers, how many of those sales were good old-fashioned vinyl, according to NPR, an article that I'm going to link to in the notes. 1.334 million copies on vinyl in its first week, beating the artist's previous record of 859,000 for 2024's Tortured Poets Department. How massive is that amount of vinyl? And then they basically looked about, this is the reason I really wanted to bring it up. And one more bit, and then I'll give you an opportunity to chat. Luminate puts total U.S. vinyl sales for this year so far at 30 million units. Reminder, this one was 1.334 million of that. That means Showgirl's vinyl sales account for nearly 4.5% of all U.S. vinyl sales for the year, just for the first week. Much less
That
people
is
who are buying afterwards.
Blowing. That is just totally mind-blowing to think about those numbers.
And that's
Like
properly sourced from
4.5%.
NPR. Yeah, that's straight out of
Yeah.
real journalism. So,
Right. Oh, that's insane.
yeah.
But I mean, good for you, Taylor. Good for you.
And that's why Taylor Swift matters. But wowza.
Yeah.
Wowza.
I am hoping we get some, well, I might want to be careful when I say this. Gonna say I'm kind of hoping we get some Swifties that comment on this, but maybe I don't because I might get crucified. But
Well, I don't want to
I can
criticize
take
any
it,
Swifties.
Swifties.
If you like vinyl
Right. Oh, no.
records and if you like Taylor
Yeah.
Swift, then hey, what do I
Like,
care? It's I enjoy it.
exactly.
Totally enjoy it.
Come in and
realsies,
tell me,
you know, I'm not
tell
here to
me why I'm
criticize you.
wrong about this, and tell me why I should like this album as a Taylor Swift fan. Because, like I said, there's something just right under the surface I can't put my finger on. There's just something about it I'm not a big fan of.
I've never quite understood Taylor Swift, but again, it's not for me, so who cares? But to me, this one felt particularly commercial grade pop music, and perhaps it's just a matter of overproduction, but my understanding is in some ways this was a very independent, like she was in charge of this production, so this is a statement she wanted to make, and that if this is a statement she wants to make, and like you say, this is her 12th 13th album, then eventually you also realize as an artist that you'll have future opportunity to make other statements. So maybe if you want to specialize a bit or talk more personal or talk more immediate, hey, go for it. Right. So.
Right.
Clearly it's going to sell. But then you also have to worry, maybe, you know, every artist, even Michael Jackson, you know, you have your ups and downs. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, heck yeah. Another thing we should talk about with Taylor, too, is she, I think, is partly responsible for the cassette resurgence, too. Because she was one of the first people to bring out cassettes for her new albums. And that goes like way back, even almost Midnights, I think, was the first time that she did like a cassette at the time of release. And now it's almost standard that you have to have a cassette release with your album if you want to have sales. I would love to know what the cassette sales are like. Because she sells a lot of cassettes too.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I'll admit it. I bought the cassette as well. I haven't opened it, but I bought the cassette as well.
I think our next episode's going to kind of be our 2025 chat and review episode a little bit, but the kind of for realsies continued growth of the cassette revolution continues. And it's just, it's a thing. Oh, yeah. It sure is a thing.
It is. So, it is.
We'll be talking about cassettes later on in this show, but in a very different context.
It just amazes me that it doesn't matter what artist it is. You can pre-order the CD, you can pre-order the vinyl, and by God, you can pre-order a cassette. Almost every new release. Like, it's very rare that you don't get a cassette option. So people have to be buying them, right? Or they wouldn't keep making them, I wouldn't think. Even though I'm like, cassettes have to be like super cheap to make, right? Like, in the grand scheme of things, I would think a cassette would be super cheap for them to press. Master, I guess, would be the more correct term. Taylor Swift is going to be Taylor Swift. She's going to do whatever she wants. She, love her or hate her, she's a very shrewd and smart business person. She knows exactly what she's doing. She's very calculated with what she's doing. She'll maybe the next album she'll totally reinvent herself. We'll see when I talk about my top 5. We're going to kind of see how she has done that in the past. She has reinvented herself plenty of times, so maybe she'll do it again. All right, so I'll kick it off with my number 5. It's going to be the debut, the Taylor Swift.
Strange to think the songs we used to sing, the smiles, the flowers, everything is gone. Yesterday I found out about you. Even now just looking at you feels wrong. You say that you take it all back, give it a one chance. It was a moment of weakness in you.
This is her first album. She was 15, 16 when this came out. Very country. This is like pure Taylor Swift country, as many people might know. She started out as just a pure country artist, and this album is very much country. There is some shades. There are a few songs on here where you can kind of see it's like she's got a lot of pop in her too. But so I would call this country pop maybe, because like I said, there's some shades of like total pop on here. But
Tell me quick about
so
that
that
press
was-
then. What's with the press? Is that just sort of a quote standard press, or is there something?
Nope. It's just a standard black. It's kind of hard to find this one. To my knowledge, this one hasn't ever gotten repressed. Most of her other albums have gotten repressed. But
Are you
this
telling me
one,
that's a Taylor Swift debut original?
It is. Yes, it is. It is. I managed to find it at not what it's going for nowadays.
What?
But
How did you
actually-
find it?
Where did I find that? I found it. I was in maybe Kalamazoo, Michigan at a record store, and lo and behold, they just had it in the bins. And this was like well after this came out. And I looked at it and I'm like, I should probably grab that, because I mean, and it was like $26 or $25 or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I'll pay that for it. And then another thing, on all of my stuff that I pulled, I only pulled the original versions. I didn't pull the Taylor versions. That was probably something we should have talked about earlier. Everybody, if you're not familiar with this, there was a period of time where Taylor didn't have rights to her music. There was like a label dispute, and it's a whole, you can look up the story. It's a whole complicated story. But she didn't have rights to her music, so she re-recorded most of her catalog. The original album she never re-recorded, but she has now since got all the rights back to her music, so she owns everything again. So we'll probably never get what she was calling Taylor's version of her stuff. But all the stuff I pulled is the original versions and not the Taylor versions. But I do have Taylor versions for everything that have Taylor versions. Oh my God, maybe I am a Swiftie and didn't realize it. Oh, actually, it's not even going for a lot of money anymore.
Oh,
It's like $45, $50.
No way, really? Oh, well.
Yeah.
Goes to show what I know about Taylor Swift.
So apparently they must have pressed a ton of those,
Okay.
because there for a while that was going for like really, really big money.
On the other hand, low
But-
cost just means it's a Taylor Swift fan, and perhaps newer
Right.
fan means
Right.
you too can own it. So
And I'm
Good
pretty
deal.
sure that's going to get a repress, because that's about the only one that hasn't got a repress. So I'm pretty sure we'll be getting a repress of that one soon. All right, so my number 4. It's kind of funny. My first couple are going in order. This is her second album, Fearless. Once again, country, but this starts leaning more poppy.
All this time I was wasting hoping you would come around. I've been giving out chances every time, and all you do is let me down. And it's taken me this long, baby, but I figured you out. And you're thinking we'll be fine again, but not this time around. You don't have to call anymore. I won't pick up the phone. This is the last straw. Don't wanna hurt anymore. And you can tell me that you're sorry, but I don't believe you, baby, like I did before. You're not sorry. No, no, no.
This one's actually a repress of this one. So, this one, but yeah. So, and this is the platinum edition. This just has a couple extra songs on it. It was out for a while, and then they came out with the platinum edition where it just had extra songs. So there's my number 4. As I said, I'm kind of going in order for these first couple ones. Her third album was Speak Now, my third favorite Taylor Swift. This is when she started to kind of ditch the country. There's still some country in here, but I would say this is like her first not total pop album, but there's more pop on this one than there is country, in my opinion.
Someday I'll be living in a big old city, and all you're ever gonna be is mean. Someday I'll be big enough so you can't hit me, and all you're ever gonna be is mean. Why you gotta be so mean?
This
I
really,
literally don't think I've ever
Yeah.
seen that album.
and then this is once again, this is a repress, not a OG of that one. Then my number 2. This is where we do a total 360, and Taylor Swift comes out, and people are like, "Who is this?" My number 2 favorite Taylor Swift album is going to be the Folklore album. This is when she is total singer-songwriter. A lot of folk influences on this one, hence the name.
Vintage tea, brand new phone, high heels on, cobblestones. When you are young, they assume you know nothing. Sequin smile, black lipstick, sensual politics. When you are young, they assume you know nothing. But I knew you dancing in your Levi's, drunk under a street light. I knew you, hand under my sweatshirt, baby, kiss it better right. And when I felt like I was an old cardigan under someone's bed, you put me on and said I was your favorite. A friend to all is a friend to none. Chase 2 girls, lose the one. When you are young, they assume you know nothing.
And this is on a red, and this one had like 3 or 4 different variants for the cover. This is just the one that I have. Oh, get it actually in frame. There you go. That's just the, and then it's on this colored press. Kind of a pretty color for the press, but
Yeah, I think that I looked for that one at one point, because I think that's probably the one I'd buy if I was going to get one. So.
this is so, especially if you like singer-songwriter type music. This is really good, and she's totally like And this kind of came from nowhere because before she's never really had any music that sounded like this. And I remember when this first came out, this was kind of polarizing too, because people are like, what is she doing? This is not like she's, like Miss Pop Queen. Like, what are you doing? Like at this point, she was all pop, like not even I don't think country even claims her anymore. Like country music is like she lost country a long time ago. And then she came out with this and everybody's like, is she losing pop now? But then she came back to pop again after this. But yeah, this is, and I would say this is the album. If you want to introduce somebody to Taylor Swift, start with this one and then say, okay, now you heard that. Now she's a little pop, but then she can also do country. And that's how I would do it if I would be introducing somebody to Taylor Swift. And then my number one, top 5 Taylor Swift album is her Midnights album.
Draw the cat eyes sharp enough to kill a man. You did some bad things, but I'm the worst of them. Sometimes I wonder which one will be your last lie. They say looks can kill, and I might try. I don't dress for women, I don't dress for men. Lately I've been dressing for revenge. I don't start shit, but I can tell you how it ends. Don't get sad, get even. So on the weekends, I don't dress for friends. Lately I've been dressing for revenge. She needed cold hard proof, so I gave her some. She had the envelope, where you think she got it from?
This is the one where she had 4 variants of this for the covers. And then not just the covers, though. She had 4 variants because on the back, it is a clock. And if you have all 4, it makes the clock. And then she sold on her web store, she sold a little clock face that you could put in the middle of it and like hang it on your wall to, which I'm sure people probably bought 4 extra albums just to hang it on the wall to get the clock.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I didn't go.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Oh yeah, it was.
What's
Yeah,
interesting too is really the covers. Once you know the albums make perfect sense, don't they?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then, but yeah, this is just so good. Like this is my number one for a reason. This is the Taylor Swift album that I will go to a lot. If I'm in the mood to listen to Taylor Swift, Midnights is going to be the album that I'm going to listen to. It's just so good. It's all pop. There's a little bit of that folk singer-songwriter in there too. Little bit of country here and there. This is just her pop fest, I think. So Midnights.
How much of that vintage keyboard's in there?
Yeah.
No, for real though. How much of that vintage keyboard's on the album?
There's quite a bit actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's that particular one, but yeah, there is some in there.
Sweet.
So there you go. So that is my top 5 Taylor Swift. But now I wanted to include 2 things. Vinyl wise, this is disclosure. This is an unofficial press. This was never pressed officially. But do you remember back like mid 90s, CMT, which was country music television, basically the MTV for country. They did a show called Crossroads where an artist would pick whoever they wanted and they would see if they would come on with them, and they would each do each other's songs and talk about how they influenced them. Well, Taylor Swift chose Def Leppard, and Taylor and Def Leppard got together and did Crossroads. And this is the vinyl of that. Once again, unofficial, never actually put out on vinyl, but this is so good. Like, and it's pressed on this blue. But yeah, it's
What?
the reaction you're getting from it is my first reaction when I first watched this show.
Oh, it's
I'm like,
amazing.
to hear Taylor Swift do Pour Some Sugar on Me
No,
with
no, no,
Def
no.
Leppard.
You're kidding.
Yeah,
No, she
nope,
does not
I am
act.
not.
Taylor Swift does Pour Some Sugar on Me.
Like a bomb, baby, come on, get it on. Living like a lover with a red iPhone. Looking like a champ, like a video van. Tell me, listen, woman, can I be your man? Gasoline, flash a little light. Television lover, baby, go all night. Sometime, anytime, sugar me sweet. Little miss it, Hennessy, and sugar me, yeah. Yeah. Come on, take a bite, shake it up, break the bubble, break it up. Pour some sugar on me. In the name of love.
There you go. So
You've got to be kidding me.
And this unofficial, I think, is now out of print, which is kind of weird to say an unofficial can go out of print. So this one's getting really hard to find. But if you're a fan of this, and this sounds really, really good too for being an unofficial press, but I wondered if you even knew this was a thing that existed. But yeah. Yeah.
Wow, what album?
They do.
That's
They do.
or not. It's not AI, folks. That actually existed.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yep, no. It actually existed. Def Leppard songs they do together are "Photograph," "Hysteria," "When Love and Hate Collide," "Pour Some Sugar on Me," and "Two Steps Behind" are the Def Leppard songs that they do together. And then Def Leppard and her do like a bunch of her songs too. But it's pretty freaking amazing, actually. So check that out. There is a DVD of that too, which was officially put out by CMT, which I have. I should have pulled that. It's over there. That is out of print now too, and that is like super hard to find. I bought it when it first came out, just because I knew it's like, okay, I gotta own this forever, because who is ever gonna believe 30 years from now that I'm like, hey, do you remember when Taylor Swift did Pour Some Sugar on Me, and people are gonna have the reaction that you had? So yeah. Crazy, right?
Next, we need a Taylor Swift Radiohead collab.
Exactly. There
Makes
you
as
go.
much sense.
And it does. And then the last thing I kind of wanted to show up is a CD. This was a Walmart exclusive CD that came out called Beautiful Eyes. It's an EP. So it has 1, 2, 3. It has 4 songs on it. And then like there's a DVD that have some videos of it. This CD, if you can find it, it doesn't go on sale very much. This CD sells for like $150 to $300, which blew my mind. That's why I had to include it in this. Yeah. And it was, and like I said, there's nothing fancy about it. It's just regular CD, and then
you could literally buy it at Walmart. You could literally buy it at
DVD,
Walmart.
and it was a Walmart exclusive.
Well, be careful with it, because it's $200.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I opened mine, so it used to have, like, back then I didn't save my hype stickers like I do now, so it had like a little hype sticker that said Walmart exclusive. But and then the other kind of neat thing about it, I guess, is the thing opens up to a poster, so you could have you could have took the cover out and have a poster. But yeah, so yeah, but this is like one of the, not the rarest like sought after Taylor Swift things, but there's a lot of Swifties that want this, and I'm just like, I don't understand why, because like I remember when I bought this, my Walmart had like probably 200 of them. They had like a big end cap, and it was just like all of these. So it's not like this was like a limited issue or anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know if just what makes it so collectible and quote unquote rare now, but yeah, it's anywhere between. I've seen it go as low as like 50, but as high as like, and then like the sealed ones, those go for big money if it's sealed. Like I've seen like sealed ones sell for 3, 4, 500. Like you can get the rare ones that sell for more than that, but that's just like the one-offs. People are just weird and pay more for it. But yeah. So there you go. That I think is the most rare, quote unquote, rarest Taylor Swift I own.
No, that
Just
Def Leppard has got to be the wildest
that's
Taylor Swift
yeah.
thing you get.
Oh yeah, wildest. Yeah, that definitely. Yeah,
Absolute
I
insanity.
I can't wait to hear your reaction when you actually hear the song.
Here's a transition for you. Do you know who my Taylor Swift is? Little person by the name of Glenn Danzig. Let's go talk about Danzig 1 through 4. It's true though. When Danzig 1, 2, 3, and 4 came out, I was an absolute fan, and I was like, I didn't get to hear Danzig 1 when it first came out, as is the case of a lot of people. It was later on, after it finally reached us, that we heard Danzig 1, but we were well primed to pick up Danzig 2, 3, 4, and then whatever else you wanted to. In part because Danzig opened for Metallica during, I believe it was the Master of Puppets tour or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that point, we were all in. But I had first heard Glenn Danzig in The Misfits, which was my introduction to punk. Someone had lended me like a 3rd generation cassette dub of Misfits Collection 1, and I was blown away, and I was like, this is the music I like, and this is the singer I like. And the fact that Danzig 1 through really the first 4 albums are amazing hard rock heavy metal albums has just been a staple of my musical listening ever since. It's also been, for decades, one of the biggest conundrums in the vinyl record community because they've been so expensive and so rare and so not repressed due to the fact that basically during their entire tenure, everybody was screwing everyone over financially, and it eventually went to the surface, and then they would never repress them because they don't want it to do anything for each other anymore.
Can't speak, can't talk. Can't stop all the beat that comes of all I told him all about it. Can't talk cause I'm already lost.
Right, exactly, yeah.
So much so that during one of our earlier episodes when we did our albums that need to be repressed, my number 1 was Danzig 2. And I believe we had a conversation about, well, I guess we'll see if this ever happens. And I implored them. I was like, just do this, Rick and Glenn. Get together enough to get a third party to do it, and you will make your retirement. And I don't know if someone heard me. But
I would like to think yes.
I would like to think yes. But somehow, basically out of the blue in October of 2025, Universal Music, You Discover Music, just starts direct selling, not pre-order, just selling Danzig 1 through 4. No indie retailers, nothing to retail outlets, only online, only through You Discover Music. Danzig 1 through 4, complete high-quality represses down to pretty much every detail of the original presses at $28 each. $28 each. And the vinyl community exploded.
Oh yeah, and that was the thing that shocked me about it, because when I heard the news, it's like, oh God, these are getting repressed. And then I'm like, yeah, these are going to be like $50-$60 a piece. And then when I went to You Discover Music, and I'm like, done, just done. $28, okay. Like, yeah.
After
And
decades of waiting, I get all 4 just dumped in my lap on like a random Tuesday for less than $125 after shipping.
and they shipped so quick too.
Yep.
That was the thing, because I thought, they're saying this isn't a pre-order, but it's going to be months before these show up. And no, like they shipped almost immediately.
So thankfully, as you will expect, you've already heard I'm willing to jump. I jumped
Yep.
the moment I could, and I got in on 1, 2, 3, and 4 here, and it made my 2025 vinyl collecting in addition to Bloodywood and other things. But the fact that my dream literally just came true on a random day of the week after decades, and I'm not the only one. Clearly, I'm not the only one, because they sold out.
No.
You Discover basically printed more. They sold out, and they've been on that cycle for some time now, where even some of them are still selling out and getting represses. But no indication there's a limit to this. This isn't a repress. This is just, we are selling this now.
Because why would you not? Right? I mean, you just like have to do it. And they sound amazing too. That's the thing. That's what I was kind of worried about. I'm like, yeah, these are just going to be, they've thrown these together. They realize this is a cash cow that we're setting on. People have been wanting these for years and years and years and years. They've been unofficially bootlegged for decades now. Probably, I would dare say, these 4 Danzig albums are probably the most bootlegged unofficial albums ever. I feel comfortable in saying that easily. And so I don't know how the stars align, who got it through to somebody, who got it through to who, if it was Glenn Danzig's idea, or because I know for a while he was dead set against any of them ever getting repressed.
Yeah.
Which I don't know quite the whole story behind that, like why he didn't. I'm not sure if it was a contract thing, like he wasn't really happy with the contract he signed back then, or I don't know.
It was an informal it was those first couple albums especially were a informal, hey, let's just get together and do something amazing, more than it was a legal deal. And Def Jam was Rick Rubin and Russell Simmons, and Rick Rubin was the producer of Danzig, all these Danzig albums. And as their relationship developed, Danzig essentially was like, why am I not getting any money? And ultimately it went down to a lawsuit where it's like, why are you not, Danzig claims that Rick Rubin told him, well, you'll just have to sue us and we'll get the finances worked out. And he's like, you are literally the record company. Why can you not pay me? We are in a room together. And that's how bad it got, and it exploded.
Sadly, that happens a lot with Rick Rubin. Very, very sad to say, because like Rick Rubin is a genius producer. Like, say what you want about the man himself. I mean, he's a little quirky, weird dude, but man, can he produce the heck out of whatever he touches. I mean, just some of my favorite albums are the Johnny Cash American recordings that Johnny Cash did with Rick Rubin. Those albums are so amazing, and it's because of Rick Rubin. I mean, not saying Johnny Cash is not a musical genius that he was, because I mean, let's give Johnny Cash his dues, but like Rick Rubin, and look at what Rubin did with the Beastie Boys. Yeah, it's just like the man's a genius. So
meanwhile, my understanding is the Beastie Boys were not getting really paid very well for their work either.
Nope,
neither
they
was
weren't.
Some of the others. And
they had
it really did.
It
did ultimately kind of just fall apart. But then the other bit is, and again, it's all who said what. And as a fan, we're not really entitled to, nor do we know the info. But basically, Danzig was screwing his bandmates at the same time. And so after a little while, they got kind of fed up with, okay, well, we're also not getting paid here, except you're not really saying anything about that part of it, And so they eventually kind of filtered away, and Danzig had to self-release and do things like that since. And unfortunately, I'm a big Danzig fan, but I think pretty much 1 through 4 are the essential albums, and beyond that is just kind of whatever you want to explore is fine. I tried like Death Red Sabbath, which has some decent songs but terrible production back in the day, and some of his later albums have been plagued by poor production as well. So
My question for you,
yeah,
and I'm just throwing this on you because I was saving this as a surprise. Have you listened to the Glenn Danzig Sings Elvis?
no, I haven't. It doesn't surprise me though, because I had the Less Than Zero
Don't.
cassette back in the day, so I'm fully aware of kind of how he can croon if he wants to. So
Yeah, don't. Just do yourself
Yeah.
a favor and don't listen to it.
Well, I don't
I
need
mean,
to
I love
anymore.
Danzig, but yeah.
Because we
Right,
have the
exactly.
most amazing. Let's get back to the amazing.
Yep.
Every one of these albums is essential. Everyone is super good.
Oh, I agree.
My personal taste would probably be 2, 1, 4, 3. But again, whatever you feel is probably correct as well. And these vinyl records sound amazing, look amazing, shipped amazing, except I had to take one back. And I actually have a second one because I got a manufacturing defect that I'll probably put a picture of in the video here. But I had to deal with complex support, and that wasn't the greatest experience ever. But they did, in fact, replace it. So
I wonder. I forgot to ask you because I know you had said when you first got them that you had a pressing defect, but you did actually get it replaced.
They did. It took about 3 weeks, but it was fine.
My order, I would go 3, 4, 2, 1. Would be my personal preference for them. But as you said, all of them essential owns, like go get these. Don't pay the aftermarket prices for them because they're going crazy right now because some of them are still out of print, but they will come back because they keep pressing more, like you said, and and it's not like they're a limited press. So just hold on, you'll be able to get it again. Don't pay the exorbitant flipper prices, please. You'll be able to get these because I had to wait because I didn't jump soon enough, so I didn't get in like the first round of them. But I kept checking, and I'm like, oh, they're back in stock, and I ordered them right away. And then like right after I ordered them, they all sold out again. So
yeah,
just keep checking, you'll get them.
I would say that I've had 2 independent local record stores that I deal with frequently say that they have been told they will be getting copies in the new year.
That's
so another option might well be to wait, not just for this, but to support your local indie. And clearly, and there's no reason they shouldn't either. Also, I very strongly would like them to do this. This is the first of future pressings. These they can do record store day pressings, they can do expanded editions, they can do audiophile 2-disc sets of some of these, because especially 3 and 4 are long CDs, and trying to fit those on 2 sides, they did an amazing job of it, frankly. But it's a very long CD and could well go across 2 discs just fine. And then to get a 2-disc 45 RPM of 1 and 2 would also be an amazing thing. I mean, there's a lot of future potential here if they want to. So, but they did a fantastic job right off the bat. So,
I agree.
Yep.
I was so happy with the way they sounded.
They did this because the original Danzig 4 also was missing this. But the only thing that these versions are missing, in my opinion, that they are missing to their detriment, is one of the most amazing band photos ever taken. And this is in the CD cover of Danzig 4 of the band in their coffins with the Secret Service and a Bill Clinton lookalike shaking their hand. And it was not on the original vinyl press as well, but it is in the CD cover. And if they ever do another, seeing that as the gatefold, yes.
Oh, that would be heck yeah.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
On that. So Danzig 1 was an amazing debut. It still sounds like nothing else, and has Metallica guest singing on, James Hetfield and others guest singing on it. And it was really Danzig's first opportunity to present kind of a new side of himself after doing punk and hardcore of Sam Hain. And
it was,
I
was so surprised at, like, when I first heard that, I'm like, this is the same dude that was from the Misfits? Like, what? Like, yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's crossover in the way you know it, and that,
Yeah.
but like musically, it was hard rock for one thing, but also
Oh, yeah.
it was right up there with like Rain and Blood and stuff about scare your parents albums. So.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, yeah.
By the time Danzig 2 came out, and he was just flat out on his cover putting an upside down devil cross and stuff, and basically ripping off the doors deliberately for the front cover. I would just note that you may know Danzig 2 Lucifuge from this cover, which was the one that came out not too long later, because they were just like, all right, maybe don't do the doors thing.
Maybe we don't want to get sued, so let's not do that.
Yeah. But for the street press, clearly it's not a problem either. So, yeah. Danzig 2 is arguably the best one. It's my favorite, and I think it's a lot of people's favorite. It's the
really
one that
good,
that had some of the bigger hits. It's got the best sound. It's the one that I also would say, although Danzig 1 does this too, but it's the one that proves that it's not just Glenn Danzig that makes these albums amazing, but it's also
Right.
Chuck Biscuits, Eerie Von, and especially John Christ on guitar. The guitar playing of Danzig 2 Lucifuge is through the roof good. So
Oh, yeah.
Danzig 3 takes us, in my opinion, into Sabbath territory. It's very deliberately influenced
could
by
see
the
that.
original Black Sabbath album of being
Yeah.
real dirgy and kind of slow. It also leans heavily further into kind of the blues rock there too a little bit, but it's a very dirgy, droney kind of, especially like Godless and the whole first side, really. So
I think that's why it's my favorite one out of all of them.
and it's got this infamous, don't bring this copy to church.
H.R. Giger cover, that
H.R.
cover's
Giger
amazing.
cover, which is definitely is one that's going to stand out in the racks for sure. So.
Oh yeah.
And then also, this was really one of my all-time favorites of his. Danzig 4 is just a fantastic album. Some people overlook it, I think. it's slightly more industrial, and he leaned far more heavily into the industrial side of it after this, perhaps to his detriment. But this one rocks, and Bringer of Death is in maybe my top 5 best metal songs of all time. Honestly,
I was still in rock radio when that came out, and I remember record company sent us the CD, and I took it home to listen to it, and I barely got out of the parking lot, and I was just like, holy crap, this is awesome. Like, I'm just like, okay, all right, Danzig, I see you. Yeah,
this is my original CD I purchased back in whatever year this came out, 1990 something or other. 4?
I still have my promo
you
radio
can see
copy
it's beat
of
to
it,
heck, but that's because it lived through college and everything else. And it's just one of my all-time favorites. It has this thing that is also missing on the vinyl, though. There's this kind of long ceremonial chant bit that kind of happens on the CD side.
Disappointed it was not on the vinyl.
Well, I'm kind of. It would take up most of a side, honestly.
I mean,
and that's
that
why
is
they
true.
did
It would,
and it was not on the original vinyl release for 2, is my understanding. But also, because the CD lived through the era of ripping your CDs to iPods and stuff, let me just say that the 60-some tracks that make up the end of this album was always a pain in the butt in that era, because you'd have to either get rid of them, or else whenever you were random playing stuff from your iPod, you'd hear like 3 or 4 seconds of Danzig just scattered everywhere throughout your playlist, and it was a real pain in the butt. But yeah.
That's hilarious.
And then after that, I myself, along with lots of others, sort of dropped off the Danzig train a little bit. Danzig 5 kind of went more industrial and just didn't really connect with me. And then, in part, due to a lack of distribution and things like that, it was a lot harder to find his stuff. Still has his fans to this day, still touring to this day. He also had to live through, frankly, a lot of internet bullying. That was what he became a meme in some ways to generations, and has had to weather that to some extent. But he's always been a very authentic individual, whether you like him or not, to some extent. And to some extent,
he's
that's
an
kind
interesting
of the point.
dude for sure, right?
He kind of is like, I don't live by your rules, and that's not my problem. So
Danzig gonna be Danzig.
He is. Yeah. But anyway, it's just the most amazing thing that this vinyl lover's dream, a Danzig fan's dream. I hope, Danzig, you're getting money from this. I really do. Genuinely, I hope that you're making a whole bunch of money from this. Making up for lost time, making up for lost revenue, and gosh darn it, if this is your retirement, enjoy your retirement, to be honest.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, he would have to be getting a cut of it, right? Like, I don't see how he couldn't.
I hope so. He better be.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I guess Rick Rubin can get some, but maybe not.
Right.
And also the band members need some.
Well, it's true too. They just all need better than what they had gotten, that is for sure.
And the first time in New Vinyl history, I got a deal on New Vinyl.
I know.
Did I expect I'd only be paying $28 a record? Heck
no. No, heck no. Because I thought too, I'm like, oh God, these are going to be like $50, $60 a piece. I'm like, how am I going to afford all these? And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
28. One of everything, please.
I can tell you that I had to pay a lot more than 28 for the new Tron Ares soundtrack. which for those who know at this point, probably, I am a giant Tron nerd, and I'm a giant Tron Ares debut nerd. I went and saw it in IMAX. I paid for the full double feature experience of Legacy and Ares in 3D IMAX on the Wednesday before it opened. And I drove 2.5 hours to an IMAX capable theater near Salem,
Wow.
Massachusetts, just to see Tron Ares. And I ordered the soundtrack and didn't listen to it as discussed until after the movie came out, because I wanted to have the full experience. And let me tell you, people, hearing Nine Inch Nails make their soundtrack debut through IMAX, Thunder in Those Seats, was about as badass as it gets.
Me feel infection. It's almost like a tongue on the back of my neck. I never had a choice, connection. I never had a chance to catch my breath.
Oh God, I can imagine.
It was so good.
I mean, it sounded awesome just in the movie theater, but I can imagine what it would sound like in the IMAX.
It was so good. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Tron Ares vinyl here, and I don't love it as much as Legacy, I think, only because I am a particular fan of Tron Legacy, and I didn't like Ares as much as Legacy either, I'm sad to say, although I fully enjoyed it. I don't think it's perhaps quite as good as the original Tron or Legacy. But it's certainly worth seeing, and it's certainly got good parts to it, plenty of good parts to it, and I fully enjoyed myself. I went a second time a couple days later and saw it in a big 3D digital screen, and it was good, but not as good as IMAX. Not as good as IMAX, not even by a long shot. So, but I think your chance of doing that's done. So, but you can still listen to this record, 2 vinyl record set of the soundtrack, and you got it too, right, Drac? What do you think? I do,
yep.
And now you're seeing it from a Nine Inch Nails fan. Let's talk about it as a Nine Inch Nails record. What do you think?
Yeah, it's really good. It's what Trent is kind of doing now. He is going very much this like industrial dance, techno-ish. The last album was a lot like this. Oh, okay. So I can see why. And the reason I bought it, I mean, I like Tron. Tron has I have that emotional attachment to Tron because that was like, I loved that movie as a kid. Like I rented that VHS, I don't know how many times as a kid. And it was just because I was just like, oh my God, the dude's in the computer game. This is amazing, you know? So I bought it more for the Nine Inch Nails aspect because everybody, I mean, if you listen to the show, watch the show, you know, I am a huge Nine Inch Nails fan. So I came at it more towards the Nine Inch Nails side of it. Not disappointed. Just kind of remember what you're gonna get. It's not like Pretty Hate Machine, Downward Spiral, Nine Inch Nails.
Right.
You're not getting that. You're getting the newer stuff that Trent has been doing in the past couple of years, which is amazing. I mean, I have no problems with it at all.
I think you're also getting a very skillfully, deliberately, and artfully composed soundtrack that tries to weave in Wendy Carlos's work from the first Tron movie, along with Daft Punk's very big contribution to the Tron world and legacy, and also do the Nine Inch Nails thing at the same time. Right. One of the things that I thought was particularly interesting, and I noticed this every time I saw it, is some of the, I guess I would describe it as bleary, kind of melty keyboards and that are throughout the soundtrack are particularly effective when you're watching the movie itself and make a ton of sense as like part of the movie. But at the same time, just like with Tron Legacy, the music is a character in the movie just as much as anything else is. And it's huge, and it's a huge contributor to Tron Ares, and generally a good way, but also in a very weird way. I mean, you can kind of, maybe it's not weird, but to me, when I hear it and see it, I'm like, this is so weird for like a big budget mainstream Disney sci-fi
that's
special effects movie.
That's what I kept like trying to wrap my head around, is like, this is Disney. Like Trent Reznor, Nine Inch Nails is a Disney person. Like, what is happening right now? Like, what the heck?
But I
Yeah.
love it, and I think it really just goes to show what has frequently been demonstrated by Trent Reznor along with Nine Inch Nails as a band, which is their ability to kind of understand source, understand material, do that
Right.
research, really consider every moment of the soundtrack and every sound that's being played, and I think it's really,
Yeah.
really good. So
Go through any of the soundtracks that Trent and Atticus Ross has done, and they're amazing at how, and you nailed it right on the head, how it becomes the music of the soundtrack kind of blends into the movie and becomes a character. And that happens in a lot of their soundtracks. And, here the past, I don't know, maybe 5 years, they've been really doing soundtrack. Like Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross has done a ton of soundtracks in the past 5 or 6 years. And I think each one they do just gets better and better.
just like you got, I understand the web store exclusive from Nine Inch Nails, and looks fantastic playing on the record player, especially if you've seen the movie and everything, like the color scheme and it looks great. It does. Really good. So, and plays really well as well.
It looks amazing.
I have no issues whatsoever with the sound quality of this final. I think it sounds really good.
Sounds great.
Yep. Nice gatefold design. Do you know what's weird though? Maybe it's just my gatefold jacket, but it is ever so slightly bigger than most of the other gatefolds in my collection, to the point that it keeps busting the seams of my outers.
Huh. I will have to.
It's only like a couple millimeters or whatever, but it's just enough to kind of basically.
Oh, I do kind of see. Yeah,
treat it just like it's cutting into the edges of my outers. And
I see. Well, yep. Mine is doing the same thing that I didn't notice, but you're right. Yeah.
The secret message from Nine Inch Nails, getting in that whole, they just can't get away from the cutting and blood and stuff. They got to kill your collection also. Yeah.
But okay, so here's a question. Do you think the soundtrack would have been as good if somebody else would have done it? Like if it, like, and it doesn't even have to be like a big name. Just if anybody else would have scored the movie, would it have had the same effect for you as if it would have been Nine Inch Nails and what he did with it?
I'm sure there are other people who could have done an excellent job with the soundtrack, but I think Nine Inch Nails was a perfect choice. Also, given the nature of the movie as being kind of a bit of an apocalyptic monster movie as much as anything else. So having that kind of darker Nine Inch Nails tone to it made perfect sense. So no, I actually wouldn't have changed a thing. I think it was just right. So
I agree.
If you want to hear my very long thoughts on the movie, I will link to my review that I did on a different thing I'm doing about video games. And I actually put together like a full-on essay about my thoughts of Tron Ares, the movie. But
very good video, by the way. Do go watch that. I was hoping you were going to link that in the show notes. Because,
I'm that kind of Tron nerd. Oh, okay. Let me real quick then. One more thing before we move on from Tron. This is, if I am being honest, I mean, I wanted to see it in IMAX 3D, so I was like, heck yes. But the other reason I was willing to pay their price is I got pins. I got special IMAX
Oh,
only
sweet.
Tron, not just Ares, but also Legacy metal kind of collectible pins for
Oh, that is sweet.
seeing it as part of this debut on the IMAX. And I doubt we'll ever get the chance to see it in IMAX again. But if you ever get the chance to see it in IMAX, yes, that's the way to see the movie. And absolutely, I would just recommend watch the movie. It's totally good enough to watch, even if it's not like even if it's not going to change things like Legacy perhaps did. It's an excellent enough movie.
I discovered, thanks to TikTok, as a matter of fact, a new artist that I am in love with. The name of the group, it's actually the lead singer. Her name is Magdalene Rose, and that is the name of the group. The name of the album is The Heart That Bloomed After Death. I discovered them on TikTok. As I said, they just kind of popped into my FYP. I heard a song and I'm like, okay, this is awesome. And then I went to their TikTok page and I watched a couple of the other videos, and the vinyl looks amazing.
Yeah, that looks
too.
great.
I love this.
Now there's blood red vinyl.
Yeah,
we were talking a while back about how they could never do blood red vinyl right there. That looks like blood red vinyl.
Yep.
That's perfect.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. It is, the way I will describe it. Picture Paramore and Spirit Box had a baby, and that's what Magdalene Rose is. She can do the pop punk of Paramore, so she's got some really good clean vocals, but then they break it down into like a metalcore, so they mix metalcore in, and she's got some of the most amazing harsh vocals I have ever heard. The song I'm going to rip up of here and play is called Shark Spray. It has what I am going to say, and I have yet to find a better breakdown, has the best metalcore breakdown I have ever heard.
I'm wasting all my oxygen and I'm over this brokenness, I'm over it.
Your pushes brutality void.
Embracing the enemy,
Survive from your destroy.
'cause you make me sick. Bleh. You held it over my head for way too long, but now the strings are cut. Holding it over my head and I can't breathe. You're reaching for the set inside of me. Every time that I say I'm done, you pull me back again. And I feel stupid, so when I get used to choosing.
It is amazing what they do. But like I said, this mixes pop punk, pop, and metalcore all together. Put it in a blender, you get Magdalene Rose. And they're an independent artist, which was what makes it even more amazing to me. Is they're just a little independent artist that just blew me away. And if I wouldn't have just randomly got the video on TikTok, I don't think I would ever know these guys existed. And I want everybody to know about these guys because this album is amazing.
How is it? So it is possible to purchase this album at a reasonable price from direct from their website, or what?
Yep, that's exactly how I got this. This was, I want to say this was like $30, maybe
Oh, really?
35.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
was like,
especially on a smaller band, it's gonna be 40 or
Yeah.
50 because that's what
Yeah,
it costs
no.
to make, right? It's some of
nope.
these things can get expensive, yo.
It was-
you know.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
it was very reasonable. And they're on, trying to think of what record label they're on. They're on like a really small record, Rock Fest Records. They are, Rock Fest must be like somehow in with Capitol, because Capitol is also on here,
Okay.
but they are not signed to Capitol. They are an independent band. But yeah, but yeah, the song that I'm gonna play, Shark Spray, the breakdown at the end of the song just blew me up. Like I literally took the needle off of the vinyl, went back to that and played that again because I had to comprehend what I just heard.
Oh,
And I'm
wow.
like, okay.
You've put up some big claims here, man.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm only
And
going to assume it's going to deliver. Now, thankfully, I'm not freaking out because I wouldn't consider Bloodywood to be metalcore. But
right.
otherwise, if you're going to have to compete against New Delhi Man,
Yeah, no. And they the way she goes into her harsh vocals and her clean vocals remind me of Courtney LePan of Spiritbox, which, like, you know how high in regards I hold Courtney LePan and Spiritbox, and it, like, she can go in and out just like Courtney LePan. So I'm like, yeah, like, I'm check them out, like, please, like, support them. I want these guys to do good because they're just this little independent band that I think is amazing, and I'm so happy the TikTok algorithm decided, hey, you're gonna like this, and you know what, I did.
thankfully, I think I actually maybe just saw this first on TikTok, but I also saw it on Facebook, but I also saw it because I was signed up for their newsletter. And that is that Megadeth is not calling it quits.
Yeah.
They're not saying that exactly, but they are saying their final album is being released. This will be their final album of new material. One assumes that we have not seen the end of things to purchase from Megadeth. But as an album and as a band, as an entity, Dave Mustaine is essentially retiring after this farewell tour with Iron Maiden and Anthrax. So if
That
you
is a
thought
heck of a lineup.
if you thought 2025 was an amazing year for music, we're already looking like 2026 is going to be great as well. And of course, yes, tickets for this are expensive, and yes, they're mostly sold out already. And unfortunately, Anthrax is only playing a few dates, which is kind of the bit that they maybe initially left out a little bit. But nonetheless, Iron Maiden and Megadeth, I would happily see.
Oh yeah,
So,
heck yeah.
and their final album is coming out. So I want to just call that out a little bit as before we move on to some future topics here. It doesn't exactly have a name. It's self-titled, essentially. The only way you're going to know, well, I guess Metallica or Megadeth never really had a self-titled album. So
No, they haven't.
I guess
I'm
there's
just trying to
that.
think. Yeah.
It's a very, it's a cool looking album cover. It's very white. It's funniest. It
Super
reminds,
white, yeah.
speaking of metalcore, it reminds me of a metalcore Grateful Dead album. The Grateful Dead album where they're all wearing the white suits and it's all
Oh yeah,
kind of
yeah,
heavy.
yeah.
It kind of looks like
Yep.
that, except that you got, the Megadeth. What's the name of the guy?
Yeah.
The chain guy.
Oh shoot, what is his name? I can't think what his name is now.
Anyway, that
Yeah.
thing. Cool looking album.
That
Which
guy,
version should we
yeah.
get? Which version are you getting? Have you ordered it yet?
I have, yeah.
What are you getting?
I got the Solar is the one that I got.
Because there's a
think it's
whole
called the
bunch of
Solar.
variants.
Yeah, there's a ton of variants. Yeah, I got the Solar one is the one that and I also, going back to our previous conversation, also ordered the cassette as well.
They have an
But yeah.
ash and glass
Yeah,
Megadeth version.
that one sold out super quick, but you know the whole story behind that one?
Yeah, the guitar,
They just-
Cremain's guitar ash-filled
Yep,
vinyl Megadeth
yep.
will be $250.
They destroyed and burned one of Dave Mustaine's guitars, and they put the ashes in the vinyl. Then again, you think glitter's bad in vinyl? Can you imagine ash in vinyl?
So
But
I
yeah.
like the Solar. I like that one too.
Yep,
But there are a few
that's
other
the one
options
that I
as
got.
well. I kind of liked the white one. It seemed like it would maybe go best with the cover.
Yeah.
And then if you've got like the fan club, there's some really nice ones.
Yeah,
as well.
I would have ordered that fan club one, but I'm not in the fan club, so that was like a fan club exclusive. I like that one, but I think out of all the I went back and forth with which one I was going to order, and I decided I think the solar looks the coolest, and I think it will look amazing spinning. So that was kind of my thought process on why I went with the solar.
I think I am
they
going
did-
to pick up the Be the Change edition of it, which has a tri-colored double LP, and it looks pretty good as well. And I kind of liked my...
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I liked my Be the Change spirit box enough that I think I'll kind of want to give it another shot. And this seems like maybe the right album for that, so...
That on Eco Vinyl too?
Yep, same Eco Vinyl too.
No.
So... I know, but it worked. It worked. My spirit box sounds great.
Well,
so...
I still have to do my AB video of that, but I will give you that spirit box did sound good.
Yeah.
It didn't. That was a better experience I had with Eco Vinyl than I've had in the past. So yeah.
Anyway, cool. After I was been a Megadeth fan around the same time I became a Danzig fan, and maybe a few months apart before I heard Peace Sells, but Who's Buying, and I was like, oh, I like this a lot too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then So Far So Good So What is still probably maybe in my top 50. So
kind of like you with getting excited about the Danzig reissue. There is an album that got announced was finally getting a repress that I may have jumped up and down a little bit, maybe. If you didn't hear the news, which I'm sure most people probably have by now, the Alice in Chains, self-titled Alice in Chains, it's also called Tripod. So if you ever hear anybody talking about the Alice in Chains Tripod album, this is the album they're talking about. Reason why they call it that is because there's a three-legged dog on the cover, and the dog's name is Tripod. So that's why it's called that. But technically, it's just Alice in Chains. Getting a 30th anniversary repress. This was one of the holdouts. The only other thing left to be repressed is the MTV Unplugged, which everybody's pretty sure that's going to be coming too, because Alice in Chains are going through. So far, they've done everything since they've announced this. So hopefully Unplug will come. There's a couple of variants of this as well. There's an indie store exclusive, and then there was a couple variants on their website that sold out pretty quick. The coolest one that I found, though, was from a company called Brooklyn Vegan, which I've never heard of ever in my life.
I've heard of them.
Okay. They were news to me, but I ordered this, and then I ordered the indie from my indie. The Brooklyn Vegan, it looks so amazing. You'll have to pull it up and look at it. I love the way that one looks. So I actually ordered both because I wanted to support my local record store too. So I got them to order me the indie version too. But
yeah, that looks great. Oh yeah, that looks awesome.
Doesn't that look sweet?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh
awesome. Yeah, I don't think I've ever ordered from them, but I know people who have, and I know that I can vouch that they'll be just fine.
Okay,
so
that's I kind of did a little bit of research, and I looked at some reviews, and nobody has really said anything bad about them. So
yeah, I don't think I've ever ordered a record, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
But super excited for the Alice in Chains movie to come out.
That's awesome. It's time for our episode 10 episode follow-up. I had to figure out how to best say this, but this is perfect. The episode 10 episode follow-up, because it's our 10th episode. We've had 10. Thank you so much, everyone who's been a part of it and watched it.
Indeed,
and
yes,
we said a whole
so
bunch
much.
of stuff, like in episode 1 and 2 and 3, and then things changed. Everything has changed for bunches of reasons. And so we thought it would make sense that as we do this show, about every 10 episodes, let's just ask some of those questions, get some of those answers, and update things as needed. Also, in this particular case, a little bit later on, we're going to talk about our top 5, and that's because we want to replay these on our actual vinyl, because some of the early episodes, we were still learning how to podcast.
Indeed.
As much as you think you do your best, but I noticed it takes about 7 or 8 episodes before you kind of figure it all out.
You get in the groove, you would say?
Yes.
See what I did there? You're welcome, everybody. You're welcome.
Probably one of the main reasons we're having this, though, is because of something that developed as I was working through my collection here in these first 10 episodes, because I went from just being a record listener to being someone making content about their collection. And it's amazing how doing this kind of thing changes that, because you realize a whole bunch of things, one of which is all those Discogs catalogs records that I'd had for years and years and years, like since 2017 in Discogs, poof, gone. And I didn't realize it until we were putting together our top 5s. And then I was like, wait a second, I've got Europe, the Final Countdown, for example. And it led me down this rabbit hole to realize about 15 to 20% of my collection was just not cataloged.
I had the same problem.
Yeah.
Because I remember you had told me about that, and I'm like, no, all my stuff is there. Well, it turns out probably about maybe 10, 12% of it was not there.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I found that out actually is I was at a record show and I saw a LA Guns, and I'm like, okay, I think I have this. Well, I looked in my Discogs and I didn't have it. And I'm like, no, I know I have this. So thankfully I didn't buy it at the show. I got home and I looked, and sure enough, I had it.
Yeah.
Well, then I started looking at some other stuff, and I'm like, this is not on there. This is not there was a couple 9 Inch Nails that I'm like, I know I have these. They weren't on there. So yeah. So that begs the question, how does that happen? Like, I know I entered those on Discog. So how do they just go poof off of your Discogs? And it's just like a problem that happens to everybody,
I guess. And I think it's because of the public nature of Discogs. Everyone's uploading things, and over time people upload bad versions of albums, and then the editors have to clean it up and all that sort of thing. Maybe in the meantime you connected to that version of the album, whatever.
Yeah.
I can't explain it either, other than to say it was a good 70, 80 records in my collection.
I was surprised at how many. Yeah.
So how many records do you have at this moment?
At this very moment, I am up to 2,041.
A little over 300. So you have not purchased 300 records?
No. No, and that's what I wanted to clarify, because in our first episode I had 1,707. I did not buy 300 records. I mean, I will admit I've bought a lot since episode 1, but nowhere near 300. So it's not as bad as it seems. But yeah, no, most, like I said, a good probably 10% of those were just ones that had dropped off my Discogs that I had no idea that I had. But
same.
I mean, I still, let's just be honest, I bought a lot of records too, but
yeah, I mean,
but I have to for the show, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and
I have to for the show.
I also had some influxes because I bought lots of records. I'd buy 10, 12 records at a time from dollar bins, as we saw over the summer and things. I am currently at 528. And that's about 70 records or so that I purchased this year, which is a lot. That's a lot for me. But 528. And I currently have 450 CDs, asterisk, because I haven't actually done the work on my CD collection. And so now I wonder, is that the same thing happening with my CDs too? It kind of looks like maybe I have more than 450 CDs, but maybe I'm wrong.
And I have like maybe 600, but I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I need to actually double check that, because I'm sure there's a bunch that I don't have cataloged too. But see, and that also begs the question, do you catalog your CDs on Discogs?
Yes.
I don't, because I don't want to mix the two formats.
I have them sent by folder. So I have one
Oh,
vinyl
okay,
folder.
okay, okay.
This is the way to do it. Have one vinyl folder, one CD folder, and then when I get CDs, they just go into the CD folder for Discogs, so I can just sort it by that. I can do all sorts of things. It's really
Okay.
good that way. Takes a little bit of work, but it's
Okay.
worth doing. And you'll have some of the same surprising experiences that you'll have when you're cataloging your vinyl records. Oh, wait, this is worth that much? Or
Well, maybe I'll
yeah,
do that then,
so
because
yeah.
I've been using like another app to do them in my cassettes, but maybe I'll actually put them on Discogs.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't realize you could do the folders thing.
Especially
that makes more
CDs, you
sense
can
then.
barcode a lot of them, and that works
Right?
pretty
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah. We're going through our topics really that we've done for these 10 episodes before we really basically never talk about them again, or maybe update them in another 10 episodes. One of the things we did is we talked about opening sealed records and the records we would not open. And one of mine is the Best of Ralph, which is Ralph Records from the Residents fame. And not only does this have Residents on it, but it's got of Tuxedo Moon and other bands that were part of the Residents collection. And I happened to find a sealed version of it, just kind of off the rack in a Newberry Comics some number of years ago, and it's been sealed ever since. Well, I decided for this episode, we are going to open this record and I'm going to play a clip from it. And the reason for that is I realized it's got tracks that I need to have on vinyl that I don't have. Like
Right.
Hello Skinny by the Residents, Constantinople. It's got The Spot by Snakefinger on it. But especially here, it's got a bit where the Residents did a mashup of Beatles samples. They weren't called
Really?
samples back in the day, but they basically
Right.
did a tape mashup of Beatles stuff in an EP that came out around the time of Third Reich and Roll called The Residents Play the Beatles and the Beatles Play the Residents. And they have Beyond the Valley of a Day in the Life on this record.
Please, everybody, if we haven't done what we could have done, we've tried. Please, everybody, if we haven't done what we could have done, we've tried. Please, everybody, if we haven't done what we could have done, we've tried. Please, everybody, if we haven't done what we could have done, we've tried.
So,
Oh wow.
I haven't clipped it because it's still sealed, but we're going to open this thing right now on camera, say goodbye to the shrink wrap, and see what happens to it. This record's about 1982. So
let's take
let's see what happens. Yeah,
how tight is that shrink wrap on
it's
there?
tight. It is tight. I will say that.
So is it
Yeah.
going to be worked?
But there's not,
that's why I
not. There is not though ringwear. Very
yeah
ringwear though.
yeah. Well,
Ooh.
you might be okay.
Official buy or die inner sleeve. Oh my God! Look how shiny and new that looks.
No, that is so. I mean
It looks
that has not
very,
seen the
very
light of
good.
day since it was pressed.
That is looking very, very nice. All right, we got our record here. Looking fantastic as
Yeah,
well.
I know.
Very
It
excited to be playing. Oh, this also has The Man in the Dark Sedan by Snakefinger on it. Some really,
Oh, wow.
really good records on tracks on here as well. This one, as will sometimes happen, look at that. It's got an original fold. So sometimes you'll look through the racks and it'll be, quote, damaged. This is no longer near mint, is it? Because it's got this fold in it. Except I'd still call this near mint almost certainly.
I mean,
This also has MX80
Yeah.
sound in it and a bunch of people. Tuxedo Moon, Fred Firth, Yellow. And looks not warped.
yep,
Not
nope.
seeing a warp.
You got lucky.
It's
Yeah,
looking
no,
very,
I'm not seeing a
very-
warp either.
Very nice indeed. I am looking forward to actually giving this one a listen. And even if I killed its eventual collector's value, I'm going to enjoy this music.
And that's the reason to buy the record anyway, is to enjoy it. Like, who cares about the rest of the stuff? Like, you buy music to listen to music and enjoy it.
What else has 10 episodes done to you? How has your collection changed over kind of the past year or so here? Yeah, me too.
A lot. It takes me a lot more time to go through all my stuff, catalog my stuff, sleeve it, all of that. I've reorganized it I don't know how many times. I've added a new shelf unit. I'm starting to put stuff in crates. I'm running out of room. There's a lot happening in my record collection right now.
Mine too, although I'm mostly done with the process. I gave everything new outers, sealed outers. I gave everything rice paper. They call it rice paper inners. Yep. I put the records on the outside of the jacket. So like you said, you're not always taking in and out or opening the spine of your jacket every time. It does have the potential to cause extra ring wear, and it causes extra space in your shelf. So I needed more space to store my records. I needed to be maybe a little more careful about how closely packed my records were. So,
that's the key there.
Yep.
Yeah,
I've been started to get real conscientious about that. Everything's looking good though, sounding good. Everything's cataloged and cleaned. Although I noticed one already dropped off my list. It's going to be on later here.
Now you're making me all nervous that a bunch of mine dropped off again.
Like a month or two ago, and I'm just like, what? I know crazy. I cataloged this.
Right.
I know I cataloged this because I just did it. I literally just did it. So.
Oh yeah, no, but yeah, it's. I guess it's just, and it's not just records. It's any physical media that you collect. I think everybody goes through this. It's just like physical media takes up space.
Yeah.
And it's the never ending, where do I find space for my stuff?
Yeah. The next step for me is actually to pay attention to my CDs, because I had to do a bunch of work today. Just in the past week, I had to move all my CDs off their shelves. And I'm like, well, as long as I've got them all off the shelf, let's catalog them. Let's make sure they've got outer plastic, which most of them do already at this point. And then let's sort them. Let's do the same vinyl sorting. Let's sort them by genre and then by alphabet. So
maybe I'll do that next. And especially since you said about the folder thing, maybe I'll put them all on Discogs too, and we'll see.
One of the things that I thought was particularly interesting, let me see, where did I find it? Here we go, is just recently, and this is an update to my collection, I have found my very first test pressing. I found this at a thrift store for $6, and it's a band from the UK called The Beautiful South. And this is my first test pressing. If you don't know what a test pressing is, this is what they would basically make before they did the final run. Any of the other people involved in the production of the album would get a copy of this generally, or at least listen from this. And some copies would be distributed to friends and fans and others as well.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I don't have any test pressings. That's something I've always looked for on stuff, but they're kind of hard to find.
You see them occasionally, and they can be worth a lot of money. This one was only $6. I only paid $6 for this, and that's because I think the band is lesser known. But it's a cool track. I'm going to play a clip from it here. And then the other bit that's new from my promos is I also picked up, this was just a $2 record that I picked up to make a minimum Discogs order. But this is my first white label promo that I have for my collection as well in this past year. And this is a $2 record of Old Dirty Bastard, a promo of Recognize, which, not the greatest song in the world, but his verse in the middle of it is not too bad.
I take your microphone, you party bitches falling online, with your fat ass thinking behind. You don't know who the fuck is here? I backsmack your ass, make pressure appear. Cause block your love ain't knocking at your door. I dedicate that to your source. Cause this nigga pew, so I was thinking.
I would also point out that Chris Rock, the movie comedian guy, kind of embarrasses himself in this album. He doesn't do a very good
Really?
job on it. It's pretty terrible, honestly. But old ODB's verse in it, for the minute or so it goes on, is pretty good. And then I think they were kind of like, well, let's pad out the track by another 3 minutes or so and release it. It was only a $2 promo record, though. And like I say, it's not terrible either. But also, white label promos, they're not particularly more valuable, but they can be. And usually they're called white label because they go out a little bit earlier in some cases than some of the other promos that get released that have a little more packaging involved in them. So they tend to be in these general sleeves like this.
And like early, like if you find stuff from like the 50s and 60s that are on white labels, those are going to tend to be the best sounding pressings because those were like the first ones that were done. So they were, direct from that first stamp.
That test
So
pressing of
they're-
The Beautiful South sounds amazing. Like the sonic space in it is just like, wow. And I think that that's an example of what you just described, of it being pretty close
Yeah.
to the source.
Yep.
So
That's a reason to kind of search those out if you can find them.
I don't need to include a repress here. I could just skip past that, but we're happy to
Yeah,
include it
nope.
if you'd like to.
Yeah. No, I have one that was on my list that I actually did get repressed, and then now I have one that I'm going to add.
That's true. Both of us had records that hit our every album's in need of a repress that got a repress this year. We just talked about Danzig, and you've got one too?
I do, yep. My number one, actually, what it was, the Sunday's Blind. Then again, I think somebody listened to the show and heard me beg for this, and they repressed it. So my number one is now off my list, and it's on this gold-colored vinyl. But yes, Sunday's Blind, check off the list. So now I'm going to change my number one to a 9 Inch Nails. It's called Year Zero. This is the CD of it. If you're not familiar with this is a concept album from Trent. It's very utopian. Corporations are taking over America. It's one of my favorite 9 Inch Nails albums. Totally.
Awesome.
Yeah. This one desperately needs a repress. It's like 300 plus if you can find the vinyl. It was only ever printed on vinyl one time. I'm not going to show the other side because it might get us in trouble. I'll show it, but I will kind of, so you can't quite see what he's holding there. But yeah. So this one needs a repress really bad. This has one of my most favorite 9 Inch Nails songs on it. It's called Copy of an A.
I am just a copy of a copy of a copy. Everything I say has come before. Assembled into something, into something, into something. I don't know for certain anymore.
Please repress this, Trent. I don't know why you're not.
My number one was Danzig too, but since that has very successfully been repressed, thank you so much, Vinyl Gods. Or maybe the anti-Vinyl Gods, if we're talking Danzig.
Yeah, maybe.
Whoever was involved, it's all good here. Anyway, I'm going to put on my list as a replacement. This isn't my number one, but this is the one I could most immediately think of, and that is Babes in Toyland Fontanelle. We're getting ready to do our grunge top 5, and I have to admit, part of the reason I haven't done it is because I kind of wanted to keep an eye out for that album, except it hasn't been repressed except one time on a Music on Vinyl, and that is already through the roof in price.
Oh yeah.
So, and it's such a important grunge album that it should totally be readily available, except it's not. So, Babes in Toyland Fontanelle is the one I'm going to replace on my list. I think the thing that has changed the most, both for me and for you, is the one from episode 1 of What is Our Most Expensive Record. Both your list has dramatically changed along with mine, not just because I missed some things the first time around, because like I said, we hadn't yet exposed just how off our collections were in Discogs, but also just because it's amazing after just 1 year how the vinyl price horse race goes up and down. So let's do it. Let's do a 10 episode, 10 follow-up of our top 5 most expensive records based on median pricing in Discogs. We're not doing high pricing in Discogs because, as already discussed, you could have some RoboCop-style drug deal gone bad,
right, exactly.
and now they've got to funnel $200,000, and they're like, "Hey, these Rolling Stones records, they're totally worth $100,000."
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the problem with looking at pricing on Discogs, because stuff like that happens all the time, or you'll have like some sealed signed record that might sell for $2,000, $3,000. Well, then that throws off the just because you have a sealed copy of Michael Jackson Thriller, it's not going to be worth $3,000 because yours is not signed, or yours is not handed to you by Michael Jackson himself, or whatever the case might have been for that one that sold for that.
Yeah. And I like it as well, though, because it also helps reflect the state of the vinyl collecting community, because there is a large nature of what are people interested in now versus some kind of perceived, this will always be worth X amount of money, which, as we know, is just not true.
Right. No.
Why don't I start this one off then?
Okay.
And since you may have just seen earlier that I opened up a sealed record, I'm going to start by saying this one is not being opened.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah, this is a sealed version of the original EverQuest soundtrack in absolutely pristine sealed condition, and is something I was able to get during a work-related trip to the publisher of the game development studio I work for. And I had the opportunity to get a piece of swag for being a coworker and such from their swag room. And I happened to see this after literally like 5 seconds. And I was like, that's what I want. That's what I want.
How about that? Yeah.
At the time, there was still a couple of vinyl records in a box there. So I didn't take the last one, but there weren't too many left. And turns out that these things are worth quite a bit of money online, as it were. And so as a result, its median Discogs price is $84, although I would say I am, in fact, on this version, going to hit that high price because this is sealed and in condition. So, but nonetheless, nevertheless, median Discogs price is what we're basing this one on, and it's $84, the EverQuest soundtrack.
I'm still super jealous that you own that. My number 5 is also a video game soundtrack. This is one of them that changed from last year. This was a little lower last year. I should have actually looked it up to see where it was last year. But number 5 last year was the DGs vinyl, which is the Foo Fighters singing Bee Gees. This year My number 5 is the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines soundtrack. Median price on this one is $174. It's on the red. I've talked about this. We talked about this during the soundtrack show.
Yep, the video game soundtrack show.
Yep. This was also on my top 5 list for median price on Discogs. Oh, and I'm going to point out to you that if you look at my Discogs and you sort it, you're going to see these are actually not my top 5 because I'm not counting box sets.
Oh, right.
My top 5 would be taken up with, I think 4 of them would be box sets. So these are non-box sets, top 5s. But yeah, $174 for the Vampire the Masquerade soundtrack.
I don't think we're going to repeat it for this one, but you should go back for episode 1 and watch the box set bit that we did after the top 5, because there's some real good stuff there that we can do.
Okay.
And then maybe in the future we'll actually separate out our box sets, because I could do some work on it, and one of mine is a box set as well. But yeah.
I would like to do a box set episode at some point, because that's kind of like one of those niche things in the vinyl collection community that.
When we first did this was my second, but 1 year later, my original Sub Pop, Sebadoh Harmacy, has fallen to number 4 at an $89 median Discogs price. However, this is a beautiful record, original Sub Pop release. It still had its plastic and hype stickers showing that 150 gram vinyl was what they were going to be pressing things on. And then even more perhaps precious to my eyes is it's got some of the, let's see, where did I find that now? It's got a Sub Pop catalog from it of early stuff, including old favorites like Nirvana Bleach. It's got Six Finger Satellite in the fastback. They're like, you can order through the mail. You can call them up on the telephone and order. And then it's also got the Sebadoh promo, which is very much in line with the kind of work that Sebadoh did, where they would just take pop culture nonsense and deface it and make it their own. For example, when I saw them live in 1994 and they were selling Black Sabbath in America t-shirts with the name Black Sabbath in America crossed out and Sebadoh drawn in it, and that was basically their tour shirts for that tour.
Their tour
it was
shirt. Nice.
Very much in line with the kind of the lo-fi DIY stuff that they were doing. And I love Sebadoh, and I love this album, amazing. And it's an amazing find for me that I actually purchased in the past decade for a mere, I think it was like $25 at a flea market. And I just happened to see it in the racks, and I would have bought it because it was Sebadoh. And then I was like, not only is this Sebadoh, but this is an OG Sub Pop.
All right.
And I was like, heck yes.
I had known that nothing's fair. Surely what did I expect? The magic slips into the air, and every day's another test. And all this tension we ignore, it surely works its ugly way outside. So let it build, let it explode, leaving blood and shattered bone. Bite your tongue till you've forgotten what to say, and take another step back until you find you walk away.
You gotta love the OG Sub Pops.
Yep.
Indeed. My number 4 is new to my list. Last year, it was Guns N' Roses' Use Your Illusion 2. It has now got bumped out of my top 5. Number 4 is World Coming Down from Type O Negative.
Grind, but mostly left. Commit the past into blue flame. Acrid smoke and lonely shame. God damn it!
This was a limited release done by Runout Groove. I don't remember exactly how many were pressed, but it was pretty limited. It was pretty hard to get a hold of, actually. It's on green. If you know anything about Type O Negative, green fits right in with Type O. Press is green. But yeah, this median price is $207.
Wow. Yeah, for the
Yeah.
record, your records are a lot more expensive than mine. That's just the reality
Which-
of it.
And it's not like I buy stuff because I know, these are going to be worth a bunch of money. It's just like some of the stuff I have just crazily is worth some pretty decent money.
I would point out, though, that with the exception of the EverQuest thing, none of these are records purchased in the last year and a half. All of these are from my collection that have been with me for some time now.
Yep.
So
Nope, the same. Other than after we get done, I'm going to throw 2 on that. I just want to talk about that. I found something very surprising, but nope, mine is the same too. This is stuff that has been in my collection forever.
my number 3 is one that's also come up on the show before as a personal favorite, but this is an original pressing of Samandy's debut, and it's the fact that it's an original Janus Records pressing of this album that, in the condition it's in, that makes it as valuable as it is. This is just absolutely wonderful kind of prog rock from its era of a UK band with world influences, and this album just absolutely rules. Personal favorite, also very, very cool looking cover, and it's a bit of a hipster album, honestly, as part of the reason it's priced as well as it is because for whatever reason, it kind of got well regarded as a cult favorite among hipsters and things, and as a result, it's a little more pricey. Median price on this one of $92.
I don't wanna feel down, 'cause my name is getting around. I say the whole world is letting me down now, 'cause I don't know where I'm bound. Yes, I guess I'm going down, 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 and I feel I'm gonna drown. Yeah, I guess I'm going down, 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 and I feel I'm gonna drown.
My number 3 is the exact same as last year, other than the price bumped up a little bit. We're going to take it back to our original discussion on this episode. This is a Taylor Swift album. This is the Long Pond Sessions. $250 is the median price on Discogs for this. This was a Record Store Day exclusive, limited print on these. This is from the Folklore Sessions. This is just stuff that didn't make the Folklore album. She had a Disney Plus special, and this is the soundtrack to that.
Take me to the lakes where all the poets went to die. I don't belong, and my beloved, neither do you. Those Windermere peaks look like a perfect place to cry. I'm setting up, but not without my muse. What should be over, burrowed under my skin in heart-stopping waves of hurt.
I think why this one's so expensive is it was limited. I think there was only like 1,500 pressed, maybe.
Really good
Something
album.
like that.
It is a really good
Yeah,
album. So
It is. It is. I really enjoy it. But then again, it ties back to I enjoy folklore so much too. But yeah.
yeah,
So $250.
and that's because of the Swift effect.
I think so. Yeah.
My number 2 is a surprise. I had no idea it had dropped out of my Discogs catalog, but also I had no idea it was worth this much. And that is a 10-inch record, is my number 2. This was not even on there before. This is Pretty Lights, The Hidden Shades, 4 B-sides and more remixes from A Color Map of the Sun, which is about a 2012 era kind of dubsteppy electronic album.
Okay.
And this is a 10-inch of B-sides from it. It's an awesome sounding album, and I absolutely love it. I picked this up for $25 from a local record store, and I didn't even think really to catalog it because I have exactly one 10-inch record.
Right.
Or it fell off my list after I got it. I don't remember what happened to it, honestly. And then when we were going through the list, I was like, oh, okay, oh, this one's not on there. And then I looked it up, and then I looked at the price tag. Median Discogs price of this one is $119.
Wow.
High
Okay.
price is like $500, and the album, A Color Map of the Sun, starts at $500 and goes up to $5,000.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So all of a sudden,
That's
my number
insane.
2 most expensive record just kind of had been sitting in my catalog for
Right.
a while. I had no idea. No idea. I do love it though.
Crazy.
I love the music, and that's probably why it's partially why it's valuable. Is it's exceptionally good. So
My number 2 stayed the same from last year, other than the price jumped up a little bit. Just a little bit more than the Taylor Swift, or this would have bumped down to number 3, but it just inched out Taylor Swift a little bit. It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Once More with Feeling Mondo soundtrack. This one is at $251.
oof. Wow.
So, yep.
That's just nuts. I still can't get over that. We talked about this last time. It was part of the TV series. They did a musical
Yep.
episode, and this is an
Yep.
original cast recording of the musical episode itself. So a re-recording in some ways, but also a not with to the camera recording or whatever.
Right.
So
Yep.
a high quality version with all the original cast. And it was is it record store day or was it just limited release?
No, it was just a limited Mondo release, like, Mondo typically does with their stuff.
I've got a theory we should work this fast.
Because it clearly could get serious before it's past.
I've got a theory, it doesn't matter. What can't we face if we're together? What's in this place that we can't weather? Apocalypse, revolving there, the same old trips. Why should we care? What can we do if we get it? We'll work it through within a minute.
I didn't realize that was so hard to get because I paid retail price for it when I got it. I didn't realize it was, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden I started seeing like why is that selling for so much? And then I was shocked that it's up to $251 now. So
Yeah. Well, I think
yeah.
it's because of the pop culture Buffy collectible market
Yeah.
as well.
Oh, yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it has crossover all the way
Oh,
to like your gamer
100%.
conventions and everything else in a way
Yep.
that it's just going to, and the fact that it's a Mondo means it's going to be high quality in that as well. So,
Yeah.
except for my Godzilla soundtrack, which they ruined. Thank you very much.
Sad.
Sorry to say. My number one is also unchanged from the moment I bought it. This was a record I believe I paid something like $65 for new. But it's absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And this is the Katamari Damacy original video game soundtrack. It comes with the Obi strip, has a beautiful cover, and is just one of the weirdest, funniest, most heartfelt soundtracks you're likely to hear. Kind of think Japanese big band meets lounge, meets jazz, meets happiness, meets weirdness, meets a little creature whose father controls the universe and discovers that he can roll up the universe and then proceeds to do so. So you roll up dogs, cats, houses, swimming pools, and eventually
it's the weirdest
planets.
video game. Yeah.
It is the weirdest video game, and it's
the
fantastic.
Weirdest video game.
It's the best.
It is.
Do your best. Picnic 기분 feels so good.
It is so much
as
fun.
a result, this too is a Mondo, and this too is a limited release, and this is the first time it's ever been released, and this is, from what I understand, the only time it has ever been released. And as a
That would
result,
explain the price.
yep, as a result, the median for my number one is $200. But you ain't walking into a record store and paying $200 for this anytime soon. As a matter of fact, a local record store near my house has it, I believe, for something like $600. So
That's I've seen it. Wasn't at a record store, but it was at a record show.
Yep.
And I want to say it was like $650, I think they had on it, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So good luck on that median Discogs price. But
Yeah, exactly. Unless you get really lucky on Discogs. Good luck. My number one, same as last year, Queen of the Damned soundtrack. If you've seen the movie, the soundtrack is basically new metal stuff. It's got like Korn, Static X, Disturbed. It's on this pretty green. I love the green. It's almost like see-through, but not quite. But it's very like just sea foamy green. I forgot exactly what they called it, but I guess this was like super limited. I guess that's why it's so much. I don't know. The price on this just astounds me.
yeah,
Median price, because we're doing median, is $322. This press was the first time it was ever pressed on vinyl because it came out in the days when nobody cared about vinyl at the time, so everything was coming out on CD. I don't remember it being that limited, but apparently it was, or just nobody's selling them or something. But yeah, $322 for my number one Queen
It's
of the Day.
because
This is
it's
a
new metal,
really
I
good
think.
soundtrack.
I think
Yeah.
it's because it's a
Yeah.
movie, because it's new metal, because it's a soundtrack, because rights to
It's-
that stuff gets tricky, etc., and because it's cool, honestly, because the
Yeah,
music's good.
it's never been repressed, and I, like you said, because of the rights, I don't know if it'll ever get repressed, but so I wanted to include these like you had said earlier, all of our stuff in our top 5 is stuff that has been in our collections for a while. I was super shocked. I had 2 of the newest stuff that I have bought in within the past couple months almost make my top 5.
Okay.
Like they, one of them is $150 median price, so it just missed out by about $20 from knocking the Vampire the Masquerade out, and it's the Mother Love Bone that I talked about a couple episodes ago about the repress of Apple,
Yeah.
and it's on there. They call it habanero,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I don't know why it's
Oh,
habanero.
okay, well,
That's
that's not
orange.
red. That's orange.
Yeah, it's orange. I don't know why they call this habanero, but yeah, $150, which I'm like, I realized it was kind of like a limited release, but not that limited.
Oh.
But yeah, so I just thought, because I just got this a couple weeks ago,
Huh.
and it's already
It sold out.
almost,
That's why it sold out. And
Yeah.
their demand was higher than supply. So
yeah.
yeah.
So so yeah, that surprised me. And then the one that really surprised me, right behind that Mother Love Bone at sorry, my iPad turned off. 149. So $1 off from the Mother Love Bone is the Warrant Ultraphobic, which I talked about a while ago. I don't remember what episode it was, but in
Not
the
that long ago.
in the What's New.
Yeah.
Because I was excited this was getting repressed. And this is on this orange swirl, which that's a pretty sweet looking vinyl, too.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, $149. And then again, this hasn't been that long since I bought this.
Wow. Huh.
And it's already at $149. But then again, this is now sold out
Yeah.
as well. So it's probably only going to keep going up.
And as
But
you had said,
it
if I
just-
recall, this is its first pressing on vinyl.
Yep.
So
Yep. So it just super like shocked me that something that I just bought last week is almost in my top 5 at $150. So it just kind of goes to show you, like, it's just the way prices go, and it's just,
you care a lot more about Record Store Day than I do in terms of actually buying Record Store Day records.
True, because it depends on the release, but there's usually is some stuff that I really want, just like this year on Record Store Black Friday, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. There are 2 things I'm dying to get. Hopefully my friend can grab them for me because I'm stuck at work. He is going to go stand in line for me, and hopefully we'll be able to grab the 2 things that I want. But yeah, I do tend to participate in all of the record store days.
I do too. I go to my local record stores to support my local independent record stores, usually twice a year for their record store days. But nonetheless, when you type in Record Store Day in your Discogs catalog, how many results do you get?
I should have did that before the show, but I'm just going to guess off the top of my head, maybe 35, 40 maybe.
3.
Really?
3 records, and of those 3, only 1 record have I ever purchased on Record Store Day because it was a Record Store Day record.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, how many of those did you actually get? Once?
In all my years of collecting vinyl, I have purchased a Record Store Day record on Record Store Day because it was a Record Store Day record once. Otherwise, I find other things I want more. I find old releases. I find stuff in the used bin. I find a new release I'd rather have.
And I'm glad actually to hear you say that, because I always try to buy something else, especially like a used, more important to me. The day of Record Store Day, I will go stand in line. I will grab the stuff that I want if they have it. And then before I go up and pay, I will look in their used and try to find a few things because that's where you're really supporting them. Because let's be honest, they're not making any money on this record store day stuff.
Well, are they? They might be. I think that's part of the discussion right now is, are your local record stores able to, are they making enough bank? Are they bringing in enough people on record store day to justify the whole thing? I think the answer is still yes, though. I think the answer is still yes.
I'm going to try to find out. I'm going to go in a couple weeks, hopefully in a couple weeks, to my local store. And I talked the owner into coming on camera with me. And we're going to have a little discussion about that. So I'm not sure how much she's going to be willing to share or whatever. But yeah. And there is a big discussion right now, especially on YouTube in the vinyl community, going about Record Store Day. If you've seen any videos here lately, you'll know what we're talking about.
A sort of record store owners, perhaps poor customer service experience involving a member of Record Store Day got exposed a little bit. And I think it really just kind of points to some of the wider term frustrations that buyers have, that stores have, that everything else has. Because Record Store Day is a very complex subject, really.
It is.
Depending where you are along the chain. So,
I mean, I like Record Store Day, but then there's a big part of me that does not like Record Store Day. I don't like the fact that, that let's say there's X band comes out with a release on Record Store Day. There's only 1,200 of those. My local record store might get a big fat 0 of those. So what am I supposed to do? Because my record store didn't get it, but the record store in another state got 15 of them because they're a bigger record store or whatever. And that's kind of some discussion that's going on now too. And then my other big part of Record Store Day is kind of goes hand in hand with that. All these limited releases, people buy them and then just immediately go out into their car, snap a picture, put them on eBay for $300.
You do get the worst of kind of the collector, tension,
and I'm like,
that sort of exists in that sort of community as well. So
and and then it's like people like me, I want it because I'm going to open it and listening to it. No, you good on you. You stood in line, but you bought it to sell. So I don't know. It's
to my mind, to me, it's the data. I don't know the data, so I really can't comment about whether Record Store Day should exist or not. I can tell you this, though. Every time I go, it's one of the busiest days my local record stores have had.
Yep.
I assume if it's a busy day like that they're making decent money, and it all justifies itself out in the end. So ultimately, whether I could find a copy of this kind of ridiculous B-sides collection or live album or whatever, Danzig singing Elvis, which I believe may have been a Record Store Day release.
I think it was. I think it was. And that's another thing with Record Store Day too. Anymore, Record Store Day has become picture discs and live albums. I mean, you get every once in a while you'll get, oh, hey, this album hasn't been on vinyl for 20 years. It's going to be a Record Store Day exclusive. Okay, cool. That's what needs to be on Record Store Day. I don't need Fleetwood Mac Rumors Live for the 500th time pressed on gold glittered fashion nugget whatever vinyl. Like, stop giving me live albums. Stop giving me picture disc. But the sad fact is, people have to be buying them or they're not going to keep making them. So apparently there's a market for that stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't. The only live album I've ever bought on Record Store Day, surprise, surprise, is going to be a Pearl Jam album. Like everybody's like, you bought the Pearl Jam, didn't you? Yeah, of course I did. That's the only live album I have ever purchased on Record Store Day. And I've never bought a picture disc because I'm just not a fan of picture discs because they don't sound good.
Yeah, they don't
like
sound
if
good.
I'm buying
don't buy the picture disc. Don't buy the picture disc.
I'm buying it to hang on the wall.
Oh, yeah,
if it's something cool like I really want, I will buy it to hang on the wall, but I ain't gonna ever open it and listen to it because it's just I'll open it and take it out of that stupid sleeve they put it in that ruins the record, but I'm still never gonna listen to it.
Yeah.
But
To me, though, when it comes down to it, like, the only people that matter are the local record stores. And by that, I don't even mean like your Newberry Comics or...
No. Your independent
local record stores. If it is worth it to them for Record Store Day to exist, then I don't really think anything else matters, because that's the whole point of Record Store Day, is it not?
That I was going to bring that up. That was the intent of Record Store Day. It originally started like 5 or 6 independent record store owners got together and said, "Hey, let's do like a day that will drive traffic to our store." And that was the original intent of it. And I think for a long time that intent was there and it was pure. I don't think so much anymore that's what's happening with Record Store Day. I think it's becoming very commercialized and it's very for the money. And if you go and watch a couple of the videos and watch the original video that started the whole thing, that's the whole discourse that's going on in the vinyl community right now about Record Store Day and this record store owner, sounds like if you're a little teeny independent record store Day doesn't care about you. Now, that's just his opinion from what happened with him, with his conversations that he had and how he got treated. If that's, the case, I don't know. It's neither here nor there. I just want to point that out. That's, if you watch that video, it's his opinion. But I just think...
I think that in general, though, they have a history of... You're always going to have some conflict. 1% conflict is going to happen no matter what.
Right. Well,
but I think in general, they have demonstrated a history of being willing to service local record stores.
Right.
To the point that they've been generous enough that people have been like, yeah, I can be a record store for a weekend. I'll rent out a warehouse and put up some shelves, and boom, now I'm a Record Store Day record seller. Well, so that
they stopped too, thankfully. That was a big problem for a while, but that has now stopped too.
But that's because of that generosity, which does underscore that, yes, my local record stores. I know one is like, I'm not really in a position to join Record Store Day. The outlying cost, you need to buy these albums and you need to get your money back. And you're right, the margins tend to be kind of thinnish on Record Store Day stuff, to be any new vinyl at all. But much less Record Store Day stuff, because you can't just mark it up in price unless you can. Sometimes you get a windfall, and so these record stores will make that $200 sale themselves, and then that's good for them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's why I said just keep in mind when you go to Record Store, be it Record Store Day or Record Store Black Friday, like buy other stuff from your record store too.
Oh, it's really get the best deals for sure.
Yeah. And don't just go into your Record Store Day on Record Store Day either. Go in there like throughout the year, like support them all the time.
But if you want to go on Record Store Day, enjoy yourself.
I mean, exactly. I'm not saying don't, because I do go other than Black Friday because I work. But
if you think you're going to go up to your local record store, show up and be like, hey, you got that really cool thing that's only 200 copies, they're going to look at you like you're an idiot.
Good luck. Yeah, exactly.
So
good luck
don't do that.
But yeah,
we're going to talk about some of our best Record Store Day records. As discussed, I only have 3, so mine was the easiest list I've ever put together.
Yeah, no, mine was hard because I had to narrow mine down. But yeah,
so we'll start with me. That way you get the last one here.
Okay.
In some ways, my number 3 I think is the perfect Record Store Day record, which is The Orb and Lee Scratch Perry. This is The Upsetter at the Star House Sessions. This is sort of ambient dub from a classic, that being Lee Scratch Perry, and a modern classic, that being The Orb. It's 2 cult bands got together to do a collab, rare pressing, through the roof collector prices, interest in it because of who they are, etc. like that. And just like many Record Store Day records, not actually all that good.
Sometimes we got
but also pretty good. And if you're into ambient and dub, and Lee Scratch Perry in particular, it's a nice release that came out in Record Store Day. So that's my number 3.
My number 3 is the complete opposite of yours. Like, you cannot be more opposite in our choices. Mine is Wendy O. Williams and the Plasmatics, Maggots, the Record.
It is 25 years in the future. Environmental abuse and the burning of fossil fuels have effectively doubled atmospheric CO2 levels, creating a greenhouse effect of strength unknown in historical times. Global temperature rises have caused accelerated melting of the Earth's glaciers and polar ice caps. Preventative measures against massive flooding have been unrealistic and poorly constructed. New York City is typical of cities all over the world. That part which is not completely submerged is a network of festering, stagnant pools percolating in the blistering heat and humid air. Day by day, the sound of buzzing flies has become more and more pronounced.
I don't even know how to describe Wendy O. Williams. In the
I have to admit, I don't actually know who this is too much. I've heard the name, but that's about the extent of it. So
they're punk, but very hardcore punk, I guess is the best way to describe them.
Well, cool.
Wendy O. Williams was out there. I will put it that way. And this is on a red vinyl. This was Record Store Day, Black Friday, I think last year, actually, is when this was. And so, yeah, number 3, Wendy O. Williams and the Plasmatics.
My number 2 has been brought up on the show before, but in a different context. And this is a Record Store Day release, an instrumental version of Dr. Octagon's, I can't remember quite what year it was now, late 20-teens release of Moose Bumps. First time in a long time that Dr. Octagon released an album, a seminal 1990s alternative rap album, and followed up with a really cool follow-up here that had a regular release somewhat widely, and then this Record Store Day release of just the instrumental version of the entire album. So basically no rap, just the beats and music. And that happened on Dr. Octagon's first album as well. Dr. Octagon Ecologist got its own instrumental version as well. That was kind of a cult one. So it makes sense that they would do it. Makes sense it was a Record Store Day release, and not my most expensive record, but definitely a collector's item there. I would also point out that it came with a cool CD in it as well. Sweet. So I've got the full soundtrack on CD there as well.
My number 2 is going to be from Record Store Day, Black Friday last year. It's Helmet and Betty.
Time to meet the protagonist.
If you were not familiar with Helmet, they were a alternative hard rock band, really big in the 90s, from like maybe 90 to 94 probably was their heyday. This is the first time and only time this was ever pressed on vinyl. This is another one of them because when this came out in like 93, nobody was pressing vinyl. Nobody wanted vinyl then. So this is first time on vinyl. So this is one of those, this is what Record Store Day should be about. Hard to find stuff that you can't find or was never on vinyl. So Helmet and Betty.
Good album. My number one is the only record I purchased on Record Store Day because it was a Record Store Day record. And that is Captain Beefheart and the Magic Band, Shiny Beast, Bat Chain Puller. It's Captain Beefheart's return to making weird music, essentially, after his attempt at doing commercial stuff, which failed spectacularly and really blew up the band he was in. A couple members of that band tried to record this as well, but this is the first pressing. It's since been repressed, I think, more than one Record Store Day, as a matter of fact, but it's been repressed a few times since this one, but this was the first time it got this repress on Warner Brothers. Now, the main thing to know about this album is that it's the second time this album got recorded. The first time was the band putting together Bat Chain Puller in Zappa's studio with funding by their mutual producer at the time. And the problem is the producer used, quote, according to Zappa, Frank Zappa, used his money to fund the recording of it. So as a result, Frank Zappa took the master tapes and refused to let them ever be used or released by the band.
No way.
Through the entirety of Don Van Vliet and Captain Beefheart's life. So it was not until after Captain Beefheart's death that the Zappa Family Trust finally released the, quote, original real version of Bat Chain Puller. Well, what happened back in the day, other than years of lawsuits, is that Captain Beefheart re-recorded, speaking of Taylor's version, re-recorded the album for Warner Brothers. However, the song order is different, the band members are different, the production is most certainly different, and it's a very different version of the album. That's one of Beefheart's most creative and really kicked off the latter half of Beefheart's creative musical life.
The floppy boots stomped down into the ground. The farmer screamed and blew the sky off the mountains. Eye sockets looked down on the chestbone meadows, and the sun dropped down, and the moon ran off. His heels and elbows pale as chalk, and all the comets collided and blew the dust. Folk fear they be seen. And the sky turned white in the middle of the night, and the sky turned white in the middle of the night. And the big floppy boots stomped down into the ground. And the red violin took the bow folks to do the hoodoo hold down. And the red violin took the bow folks to do the hoodoo hold down.
This and two other albums after it, and then he went on to just focus on art and such. But this is a kind of a return to form in a very, very weird album, but also a really cool one. And the Record Store Day release has a second disc of like B-sides and demos, alternate versions that in I think one or two cases, they've all generally been bootlegged to death, but a nice official version and a good sounding version as well. So just a wonderful record. My number one Record Store Day record, as far as I'm concerned, justified a whole decade and some of Record Store Day. Even if I will say this finally, I love this album, but I only like maybe half the tracks on it.
Okay.
The weird thing is the half the tracks I like on it are so good that I just don't care that I don't like the other half of the album. So,
and that's kind of rare when that happens.
Yeah, but it does happen. It does happen. I could actually make a list of that myself, of albums I like half of.
Right. All right, my number one going to be In This Moment, their debut album, Beautiful Tragedy. This is another one of them, to my knowledge, first and only time ever pressed on vinyl. I do not think this ever made it to vinyl. It's on this just blue vinyl. This is my favorite In This Moment album. This is, like I said, their debut. If you know who Maria Brink is, you know who In This Moment is. This is just her at her best, I think. I mean, I'm not putting any of the other later albums down because I love them too.
When
but
did you get
this
that?
is
How
just-
did you get that?
It was Record Store Day 2 years ago. Stood in line, actually.
And
This
how
is
did
one
you
that I
get,
managed.
how did you get that copy? However, did you just get lucky, or did you plan
Yeah,
it out, or what?
No, I just got lucky because my local record store only got 2 copies of it. And by the time I got up to the table to get my picks, there was 1 copy of that left. So I got the last copy of it.
A year ago,
And
when we
yep,
started this show, I wouldn't necessarily have cared so much, but it just so happens I saw In This Moment live in August.
I know, and I was so jealous of you. Yes.
Yeah, and it was a great show.
love it
It was
In
a
This Moment,
fantastic
yeah.
show. So I
Yeah.
would be all down for buying that vinyl today.
I should look to see how much that is now because that was a limited edition too. I will have to look that up and see what the price is right now. But
I hear specifically there is something that at various times has been described as a Record Store Day release, but also coming out after Record Store Day.
yes,
And they're doing their greatest hits as a re-release right now, like right now as we speak.
yes, which I have that pre-ordered actually.
I haven't because I'm kind of haven't decided what to get yet because I've been kind of seeing if maybe I could get something like that. Except my
Right.
luck, I haven't found anything like that yet. So
But yeah, and that's kind of brings up something that we should have talked about when we were talking about Record Store Day. If you're not familiar with Record Store Day, you're gonna have a Record Store Day exclusive, and then you're gonna have a Record Store Day first. So a Record Store Day exclusive is if you're not there standing in line, you don't find that in that record store that day, you're gonna have to pay flipper prices for it, or you're never gonna get it because it's never let me say it's never supposed to be repressed again, but it's happened where they have been repressed again. But that's a whole other conversation. But Record Store Day exclusives are only supposed to be a one and done for Record Store Day.
But
and
they'll
then the
bring it
Record Store
back.
Day, right. The Record Store Day first it's available for Record Store Day, and maybe it's on like a red colored vinyl. They might repress it a couple months later on like a green colored vinyl or a black, just a standard black vinyl. So if you don't manage to get a Record Store Day first, if there's something you really want on a Record Store Day and it's a Record Store Day first, wait a couple months, a year, you'll get a repress of it. It just might not be that super cool color that was on Record Store Day. So that's another kind of weird quirk about Record Store Day. But
I'm going again this year. I'll probably spend too much
So-
money, but there's not a single thing I want, except for maybe that In This Moment, except I don't expect to see it. So
yeah,
I'm not even gonna
no.
worry about it.
I mean,
so
you might get lucky, like if
no,
I know
I'm not getting that copy.
I mean, probably not, but my local record store does have like a section where they have old Record Store Day stuff. Maybe it was in there and nobody bought it at your store, so you might get lucky, but yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it too. But
Yeah.
we'll see. I'll probably get
Sadly.
something else, and that'll be good
Yeah.
too. Or besides, I already have my eye. Do you do this when on your local record stores? You've got your own internal want list, which is sort of like, well, I kind of just want to get X,
Oh,
but
yeah.
if they don't have X, I'm going to get A, B,
Yep.
C.
Oh yeah.
But
Yep.
I already know
Yep.
they have because I said no last time I was in here, but I'm going to say yes in the future.
Yep. Nope. Oh, I do that. That's basically how I operate. Yeah.
Before we wrap up the show, we want to do something that's off media. We're going to use the term off media loosely. We're not talking about vinyl records. Often we talk about things like CDs or cassettes, and we're kind of talking about cassettes.
Yeah. And sort of vinyl records too, in a way.
Yeah.
There is this is a repress of this album back in 1983. There was a Christian rock band called the Prodigy that released this album called Electric Eye.
Let's see, what mask should I put on today? Perhaps a comedy or tragedy to play today, so the world can get through to me.
And it was just your standard fare Christian rock, nothing spectacular.
But what does that
about
mean
it.
in 1983?
What would have been stuff like early Petra, like, you know, like just not like the Christian rock of today, but this, like, maybe these guys I would kind of compare to maybe like Genesis in their poppier days.
Okay.
They're kind
Okay.
of poppy-ish,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. So that's but when they released this, they said there is look and find the code is all they said when this record was originally released. Well, once again, this is a repress of this. This just came out a couple years ago. It's on this red colored vinyl. But they said, look and find the code. Well, nobody knew what that meant. Nobody found it. It was several years later, some college student, and once again, I don't know how in the world this college student figured this out. I don't know if he was just looking at the record and it's like, that looks funny. But like everybody knows on a record, there's the dead wax, right? Well, if you look at this one, and I don't know how good this is going to come up on camera,
Yeah.
but if you look in the dead wax, there looks like there's kind of grooves in it.
Yep.
Well, that's because there actually is grooves in that dead wax. What it is computer code. And if you would hook that up to a cassette player at the time was the only way to do it. And then, so you got to hook your turntable up, put it on cassette, and then take that cassette to a Commodore 64, run that code that you just recorded. It will do a little program on your Commodore 64. And it was years before this was discovered. And there's a YouTube video that we can link. A man, he's has a YouTube channel that does a lot of Commodore 64 stuff. He actually went through and, to my knowledge, was the first time in like ever it was shown on the internet. But he went through the whole process of how he had to figure out how to get the data off the record. But yeah, it's just in that dead wax. If you play that and record that, then you can take it to your Commodore 64 and run it off of the cassette, and it will.
I'm surprised in some ways it would have taken that long, because people, even of the era, although it would only be people who knew computers of the era, would have been
Right.
familiar with the sound it made. That sound
Right.
being a very specific sort of thing. Yeah.
Let's see.
And I want to just say, for example, a cassette player like this. This is a cassette deck that's in my collection here. This is a very classic General Electric auto level control integrated microphone tape deck. These things are collector's items these days, and I'm super glad I have one because it's exceptionally functional and it's got good inputs and outputs and things like that. And you can play the audio from something like that.
I was just reading on the back because the back has the whole story of it. I guess it's after the stop groove, so it's not like if you're not at your turntable. So it's not like you're going to hear that, because it's going to hit the stop groove. It's going to just, stop there, and they have it locked to where your stylus is not going to move. So you intentionally have to move it over past that stop groove to hear it.
Now that is tricky. Okay, now that changes
Yeah.
everything then, because if you wouldn't have, even an automatic changer wouldn't have caught that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know if
interesting.
that's showing up. I'll kind of shake that, but I'm gonna record some of the code so you can hear it. I don't know how long we're gonna play it because it's gonna be annoying.
I can take care of annoying everyone.
Okay.
I can annoy everyone.
Well, there you go.
And
Okay.
here's the reason why. Because while I can't do exactly what you say, my off media here is a use for cassettes as computer programs. What is this? This is an Atari 2600 game. How can this be an Atari 2600 game, you ask? Well, it is due to a thing that came out during the Atari's life called the Starpath Supercharger. That's this thing.
Which I have never even heard of this thing.
Into an Atari cart panel and adds essentially memory, graphics capabilities. You can almost think of it like an old grandpa's style graphics card. But you would plug it in.
Yeah.
You would plug it in to your Atari 2600, and it's got a mono cable, 3 1/4 inch mono cable, and you would hook up your game tape, which is where the phrase game tapes comes from for those retro collectors out there, because they used to actually be tapes sometimes. Put it into your General Electric thing here, hit play, and then out of your stereo would come something like this. This would just play until it was done doing whatever it was. It could be minutes if it was a long enough program, but for the Atari 2600 stuff, no longer than 30 seconds. And then you'll play one of their box games. This was essentially their attempt to release stuff on the Atari 2600 platform that was higher quality than what was available. This is a company called, well, they were originally called Arcadia, and then since the Arcadia came out as a video game console, they changed it to Starpath. So you'll see it as alternately the Arcadia Supercharger and Starpath Supercharger. But the wider point is, cassettes were not just for music. And a lot of us, even kids at the time, were using cassettes with our tape decks to play video games.
And apparently run Commodore 64 code as well.
Before we wrap up episode 10, and thank you so much, Track, for being here with me today. I wanted to do one more, and this is an Atari 2600 one that has to do with music. That music being the rock band Journey, which is that one of the first bands to release a video game. There may have been others before this, but none I can think of. Maybe, I can't think of any.
I think that was about the first.
I think it went to the arcade before the 2600, but nonetheless, Journey Escape, the Atari 2600 game, which is quite the video game that includes in the arcade a pretty cool version of the song done kind of 8-bit style. And on the 2600, they tried to play Journey using a 2600.
God bless them, they tried. Good attempt. A for effort, guys.
Yeah. And you are basically guiding the members of the group to the stage, and they're dodging fans and security and things like that. And it's sort of almost like an auto racer, particularly difficult, not very good, but also a classic in its own right. In part because, I mean, it's a Journey 2600 game.
Right. I mean, come on now. And you have it in the box too, which is amazing.
My retro games collection rivals my vinyl collection, both in terms of number and value. I do a different channel about different video games on the Atari VCS, but my retro games collection someday could get a bigger feature because I've got stuff going all the way back to the original Magnavox Odyssey. Thank you for watching episode 10 of the Record Players Podcast. Our episode 11, I am thinking two things. We might do an episode between here and 11 because I want to do an end of the year one. But I think our next topics are going to be best records of the year and grunge. We're going to do our top 5 grunge and blow it out for a show here to start.
You're finally going to make me do my grunge list, huh?
Yep.
You know, the list I've been dreading this whole time because you're only going to make me do 5. Okay. All right.
So my problem is I don't have much grunge on vinyl. It's all on CD, but I think I'm going to solve that, at least right now, today. We'll see in a few months. Today, I'm going to solve it by just featuring my CDs, because they're the original CDs. They count just fine. Yeah. So they're not vinyl records. They're still the original CDs.
Still counts.
We'll see. We'll see what happens, though, when the next time we watch the Record Players Podcast. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Like and subscribe on YouTube if you would. If you're watching on TikTok, give us a little thumbs up and such. And thank you so much, Jack, for being here.
Yep, thank you, as always.
I don't actually know. I don't actually know that Bloodywood's going to be my number 1 for our top 5 of 2025. It's been a tougher year than I thought.
And that kind of surprises me because you've been talking that Bloodywood up ever since your brother was on here and we did that recording. So that surprises me.
I can tell you New Delhi's my song of the year.
Yeah,
but okay. I don't know, man. It's been a it's been a great year for music.
It has been. It started out kind of slow, but the last couple months.
Well, you say it started out kind of slow, but you started off the year with Spirit Box as your lock-in for number 1. So we're going to find out next time if that's true or not. But
that's true. Has it changed? Well, there's some good stuff that's came out since then, but we'll see.